got good rotation, or at least indication that we may have good rotation here back towards Madison. As far as our viewing area goes here, VV, not picking up on too much as far as the rotation is concerned, but it's likely that we still have a little bit of rotation there across the area, of course, when we have that tornado warning. So let's go over to some of the velocities here, and let me just see if I can get a better scan on some of this. And I'm going to go over to the Louisville radar. And again, this is kind of in a area where we're between radar sites, trying to get the best location here of where we can get some good indication of where the rotation is on our radar, at least so you can see that at home. But again, that tornado warning still goes for Carroll, Gallatin, and Switzerland counties. That goes until 4:15. So we still have another half an hour or so left on this tornado warning here. So VV, Carrollton, Worthville, New Liberty, as far as Warsaw, Bennington, all included in that tornado warning here across the area. And again, that's going to go for another half an hour or so. It looks like we have a little bit of a tightening as far as the rotation goes, just to the west of Brooksburg at this point in time. So if you're in Brooksburg, you want to head to your safe spot. Again, of course, hopefully you're already in potentially the lowest level of your home, already in an interior building, or excuse me, interior room in the building that you're in. That would be best case scenario. But yeah, VV is in that tornado warning. That's going to be coming towards you, at least the worst part of the rotation potentially moving into VV right now. So this is going to continue off to the east. These storms moving at around 40 miles per hour or so. I do want to mention we do have a severe thunderstorm warning out towards Highland County, and that's going to continue here. Let me get the latest on that. That's going to go until 4:15 as well. So Highland County, severe thunderstorm warning there. The potential maybe for some rotation with that Highland County storm. So we're going to keep our eye on that as well. There could be a little bit of rotation up there, but otherwise we want to get back down into southeastern Indiana, back down in close to northern Kentucky here, where we have that tornado warning ongoing right now. Again, not confirmed for us here in our viewing area, but this was confirmed at one time. And again, that means someone actually saw it on the ground, and it has the potential to be on the ground here as it continues to move off to the east. So this is what it looks like out towards English, Warsaw. And again, I will, once I get that red off, that I think that's coming from the actual tornado warning and not from the actual velocity data here. So we'll go back to the rotation just to see if there's any new updates. And there has been quite a bit of rotation. Again, this is that same cell we've been following back down across southern portions of Indiana, back into our viewing area, and it's got a pretty solid, at least, stretch of rotation on it. The other thing, and I don't know if Tara already mentioned this, but we did have a few counties dropped from the tornado watch, so I'm going to load that in here really quickly just to give you a quick update. Butler County, Franklin, back into Union County, all excluded from the tornado watch now, but it's really our northernmost counties, our counties across northern Kentucky that we're kind of most concerned with here as we head through the rest of the night tonight. That tornado watch goes until 5 a.m. and northern Kentucky, or at least far south of our southernmost communities and our southernmost counties, haven't really been touched by the severe storms that we've had tonight here. So it's likely that the severe threat's still going to at least hang on through the next hour or so, at least down into portions of northern Kentucky. And rain, the heavy rain at least just stopped here, so we can hear it on our rooftop here in our studio. We'll go back to this tornado warning again. Carroll, Gallatin, Switzerland counties, all included in this warning. This is going to go until 4:15, and it still looks like probably the tightest rotation, or at least the strongest winds, are going to be right over Brooksburg here. So we zoom in just a little bit more. It's again in a tricky spot between radar sites here where we want to get the best.
Indiana's working a little better.
Okay, let me try Indiana just to see if
I've got you there. VV and Carrollton definitely finding the brunt of this right now with that potential tornado. And again, just to the west of this area was where a confirmed tornado was. So we are safely assuming that you're going to at least be dealing with rotation, but a potential tornado happened just to the west of our viewing area. So now heavily impacting Carrollton to VV. So kind of give you an idea a little bit closer here towards Braytown, Easter Day, and VV. So we've got 42, we have 56. Honestly, remaining off the roads is going to be the goal. I know that gets very hard as we get moving, but we could be dealing with another strong push of potential severe weather for our northern Kentucky counties and our very far southern Indiana locations, because you haven't seen much yet. And we were worried about this, that you were dodging a lot of the activity. The rain was training over the same spots over and over and over, and those areas south were just waiting for their chance, and now it has shifted farther south, and this is our first kind of southern location here just within the last hour that had any sort of warning. So again, the worst rotation at this very moment, I want you to stay in the basement, stay in that interior room in Braytown and in Carrollton. Get ready for it in VV and Easter Day as this continues to progress farther to the east. So 42 heavily impacted potentially here, as well as 56. Now we were also watching a warned storm here with a severe thunderstorm warning in through Highland County. They have not transfer that over, thankfully, to a tornado warning, but there is some broad circulation that is being picked up, especially through the southern sections of the polygon. So that would be southern sections of Highland County. So I'm seeing some broad circulation, Folsom, potentially having some circulation near you. I want to make sure that you are watching this close. Stay with us so that we can keep you updated if this does indeed turn into a tornado warning. Berrysville, if you're waking up to sirens, your phone's going off. Just right now, still a severe thunderstorm warning, but I am watching rotation that is occurring right now in southern sections of Highland County. While not warned, the National Weather Service is also seeing the same thing, and they are watching that. Now, as I head back here to our one area that is officially under that tornado warning, it is through Switzerland County, Carroll, a little bit of Gallatin County as well. And I got to switch radar sites because we've got to make sure that we're getting the most accurate information when it comes to that spin. The velocity is what we're tracking in. So it has officially shifted a little bit farther to the east. Let me confirm here. So Brooksburg still looking very close to you. And you know, as I was warning Carrollton, and it looked like it was going to stay to your north, but this has transferred a little bit farther to the south. So I still think Carrollton, you have the potential of some rotation still in place. Braytown, again, Easter Day and VV coming in as the next locations for a potential tornado. Are you seeing anything that I'm not yet seeing, Ann?
I'm just looking at the same stuff that you are, Tara. So it's looking, again, Brooksburg probably has the tightest rotation here across the area. Carrollton, as you mentioned, right in the thick of it as well. So any of those spots, I think that's where we've got those strongest winds coming through. And again, this is another signature here tonight, or this morning, that we've seen that looks a little more intense, at least as it was coming out into our area. When it was confirmed that it was on the ground, that's where it kind of looked the tightest, at least as far as the green and the red colors that you see here on the map. The velocities there coming together, that's where we've seen some of the tightest rotation, and I think that's where maybe some of the strongest rotation may be inside this storm. So definitely, again, if your warnings are going off on your phone, if you're waking up to your weather radio, that's where you want to be, or at least go into the lowest level of your home. That's where you want to be as the storm comes through. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. And again, we've been talking about the severe thunderstorm warning that's back out into Highland County. That, again, has the potential maybe to have a little bit of rotation inside of it. Right now, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning, but it's going to be a strong one at that as it moves through Hillsborough, Sinking Spring here, back towards Paint Township, Bush Creek Township, Berrysville, East Danville. You're also included in that severe thunderstorm warning there. So we want to keep you updated on that. Of course, we just had more heavy rain, torrential downpours come through greater Cincinnati. That's going to continue. I'm going to put actually this into motion here just to go back and widen the view just a little bit here. You can see all of those storms coming out of Louisville, out of southern Indiana, back into Kentucky here, and they're going to train basically across northern Kentucky. So we'll see how this one holds together, and if this hangs out into northern Kentucky, we're going to have the concern as we go through the rest of the night here tonight, and those storms are going to continue off to the east. So
seeing those severe thunderstorm warnings, not tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings backing up. So that again is just outside of our viewing area and will likely be extended. I could see Owen County, they're currently under tornado warning, but obviously we're going to be finding that transition to a potential severe thunderstorm warning as well. So just kind of give you a look. In addition, if you are not dealing with any sort of severe weather in the way of tornadic or even severe thunderstorm warnings, we have so many different locations here with flash flooding. Very dangerous situations. We have roads completely closed. So if you're waking up and you're wondering what's going on, we've had severe weather since last night and extremely heavy rain for hours upon hours. And so it's really becoming a problem in many locations, quite a few locations without power as well. We were at one point upwards of 9,000 without power. So the biggest concern at this very moment is here. So we have Switzerland County, Carroll County, Gallatin County, and Owen County under a tornado warning. I just got another alert. If your phone has been going off, you've been hearing a lot of loud noises. This is the only spot right now that has a tornado warning. Elsewhere, you're getting alerts most likely because of the flash flooding and the real concern with that. So I'm going to turn radar back on. You can see some of that heavier rain, but I want to make my way over to the velocity, which is again the rotation in the atmosphere. This is what we look at to really try and determine where we think the most significant spot is and of potential concern, where you need to make sure that you are in your basement and you're keeping everybody safe. The problem is when it's that far west, we have a tough time because we're in between radar sites of making sure that we have that exact spot to keep everyone safe. So let me see if I can look a little bit deeper here. I know I just got another flash flood warning there. So again, tornado warning, I actually think it's been trimmed back a little bit here, but broad rotation, I can confirm broad rotation. So not quite the couplets that we were seeing, not certainly the confirmed tornado look that may even had a little debris that we could see on radar before it ever made its way into the tri-state. But I would say broad rotation still happening from VV down towards Worthville. So that is going to potentially be moving east and through Switzerland County, Carroll County, and Gallatin County. So VV, this is right up on top of you. I think that broad circulation continues down into Worthville. So Carson, I want to make sure that you are in the basement in the lower level of your home. Again, just to the west of us, this was confirmed as a tornado. Warsaw, you are in the path. If this holds together, you are just barely in that tornado warning. It is not yet there, but don't think you're missing it. It has not made its way to you just yet. Also, East Enterprise, still under the tornado warning. Actually, I see that they're adding on severe thunderstorm warnings as we expected. So severe thunderstorm warnings have officially been added to several of our counties. Let's get to that so I can add in those new pieces of information. There is just a lot on radar right here. So severe thunderstorm warning will now go until 4:30. So this is brand new, just starting to see this come into play for Grant, Kenton, and Owen County. Tornadoes possible, but we're just saying at that severe thunderstorm status, wind speeds of about 60 miles per hour, and there has been some hail. That is something that's been a little different. We didn't have a lot of hail with those initial severe storms and tornadic cells. So hail has been associated with this stronger line that is working its way farther south in comparison to what we had with that northern activity, where a potential tornado was in Franklin County. We potentially have one in Boone County. We were watching for damage up into Warren County. So this is now pushing farther south. Let's see, if we can get back to the velocity and kind of give you an update on that. I do see maybe even some bigger hail there being found towards Worthville. Switching over to velocity now, just kind of letting you know what I'm seeing. We need to find the perfect radar site so we can really get you the best information. See if Indianapolis is the best spot, or maybe we can go to Covington at this point as it's getting a little bit closer. It's still hard to tell. What do you think, Ann? What are you seeing? Are you seeing something?
No, I just was going to say, once the storm's kind of stretched Like you were saying, the broadening of rotation. So that's maybe a good sign here that it's not as intense as it initially was as it pushed into portions of Switzerland and Gallatin counties. Also picking up on a few velocity scans here. This would be just to the east of Worthville, which we'd been mentioning where some of those stronger winds might be located. You know, we could be seeing maybe close to 60, 70. I had a few inquiries here where we had some winds picking up maybe closer to 80 miles per hour. Not necessarily saying that 80 mile per hour wind gust is making it all the way to the ground, but I definitely think with the history of these storms here tonight that we do have that possibility of some winds higher end here, maybe closer to 70 and 80 miles per hour, especially with the tornado warned storm that you see here. So those stronger winds just moved out of Worthville, and they would be just to the south of Sanders and just back to the south and west of Sparta. So again, this is kind of stretching out here where we've got the tornado warning. VV, again, this is moving out of your neighborhood, but you are still included in that tornado warning. So I would still stay in the basement, lowest level of your home, at least for the time being until that warning does expire. And as Tara mentioned, we've got the expansion of these warnings, but it is a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. So that means it's a strong severe thunderstorm, but there is that potential for some rotation there, and there could be a tornado, but they're going with that severe thunderstorm warning, just east of the tornado warning. So again, tornado warning is going to continue here. And that's going to go, I believe, till 4:15, if I remember correctly. Okay, and then that severe thunderstorm warning goes until 4:30 here as we continue on into the early morning hours. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. I'm going to go back to Highland County, where we do have that other severe thunderstorm warning, and that's going to continue to push out of Hillsborough, as we said, out of Bush Creek Township. You're still in that severe thunderstorm warning up towards Paxton, as well as Paint Township. So that's going to continue here as well, and that's the other.
I will note that there's a bit of rotation being picked up towards Brush Creek Township and Elmville. Okay. So still not quite in the clear, unfortunately, for Highland County. It is almost out of our viewing area, but I would say there is still a bit of rotation. So holding strong on that severe thunderstorm warning. Thankfully, we're not at that tornadic status, but I just wanted to mention I am picking up on still some rotation here from Brush Creek Township. Elmville, you're almost out of it. Definitely looking better towards north. Let me get that back in there. North Uniontown, Harriet, Marshville, you're still under the warning, but the most significant portion is outside of you now. Same story for us in Hillsborough. This is where I'm watching for some potential rotation right here. Brush Creek, I apologize, Township, and Smoky Corners, and again headed towards Kincaid Springs. But just that severe thunderstorm warning. If we want to get back to our more significant areas where we do have still a tornado warning, this is through Switzerland County, Carroll, Gallatin, and a bit of Owen County. Let me switch that radar site and see what kind of rotation we're finding. At this point, I would say outside of VV, headed towards Warsaw. This is really tough to pick up. But we might right here, seeing this right here. I don't like the look of this. So VV, we've got here 101, 42, headed towards Warsaw. Here's where we're seeing potential for that rotation. So this is just outside of 71. Noting, by the way, 75 towards 74 completely shut down, and I don't think that has been reopened. So we've had roads closed, definitely a concern, and very heavy rain ongoing with this. And this is another thing, if you're stepping outside seeing, oh my gosh, I have this tornado warning, I want to see this, you are unlikely to see it with the amount of rain that is wrapped around the circulation. It has been very hard to see, not only for obviously the naked eye, but for us for that very reason. So at this very moment, tornado warning still in effect for us here, Switzerland County, Carroll, Gallatin, and into Owen. I think the worst of it at this moment, though, is officially into Gallatin County, making its way towards Warsaw. So that would be very northern sections of Gallatin County, 1039 here, making its way towards Warsaw, potentially impacting those that live near 455 and just out of 71. So it does look a little better now in Vivi as we are trying to watch that circulation as it's been progressing towards the north and east. We'll see if they keep this tornado warning. I know it's supposed to go until 4, so we're going to hold on here for a second and see if they're going to be extending this tornado warning, thinking that circulation is going to continue farther to the east. The potential of that, we have the severe thunderstorm warning, so maybe they're just going to hold on to that. But if not, this could even be stretching in towards Boone County, which already had some big impacts. Hopefully that area is a little bit more stable, considering we already had our fair share of severe weather in Boone County. But outside of English, still under that tornado warning is Vivi, and then pushing east. Let's see, did we get any new information on that, on the time frame? We're officially at 4, so they are holding that tornado warning. We don't have a ton of locations right in there. Still towards Warsaw. So there are roads 1039, 35. So I want you to be prepared for this. You're not under a warning currently in the way of a tornado, but you have a severe thunderstorm warning. So there's the chance that Patriot, Napoleon, Glencoe could be finding some rotation. So let's put on the update on time, because I haven't seen that they've extended it, but it's past 4. So okay, so the tornado warning goes until 4:15. I was thinking it was 4 o'clock, goes until 4:15. So I just see a new severe thunderstorm warning has been added.
Yeah. If you guys want to come over to me.
Yeah, go over and get an update with Ann here for a second.
I can update you on that severe thunderstorm warning. So that includes Adams, Brown, Claremont, and Highland counties here, new severe thunderstorm warning. And it looks like just getting some new information here from the National Weather Service, updating the severe warning down to Cincinnati to 75 or 70 mile per hour winds potentially. So, okay, so when you just look at the radar here, we've got reflectivity on, just giving you an idea of what it looks like. The worst of it, yes, right over Williamsburg. This is going to be south and east of Owensville, and I believe the warning on this is going to go, I'm going to double check the time here. It goes until 4:45. So we've got 45 minutes of the severe thunderstorm warning, includes Brown, Claremont, Highland counties, and it goes for another 45 minutes. Again, those winds potentially 60, maybe closer to 70 miles per hour in some cases if we get those stronger winds a little bit higher up to reach down to the surface. And I think that's what the National Weather Service is maybe concerned with. But again, this is torrential downpours that have just rolled through greater Cincinnati. They just came through the station, and now it's shifting off into Claremont and eventually into Brown County here, and then into Highland and potentially portions of Clinton County. So again, we're concerned on the rain, but also the wind component again of these storms, and the damaging wind concern was kind of our primary threat. Of course, we had the spin-up tornado threat here tonight and this morning, but the wind concern, the damaging wind concern, I think was our biggest concern here as we were looking at the data and bringing in the storms here through the evening and into the overnight hours tonight. So let's put a track on this. These storms are moving pretty quickly. Most of the night here tonight, anywhere between maybe 35, 40 miles per hour. So again, if you hear your city, your town named here, you want to already, be in a safe spot. Hopefully this isn't a tornado warning, but a severe thunderstorm warning with some very strong winds on it. You definitely want to be inside and away from windows. So right around 405 for Sterling Township, White Oak Township around 420, and then East Danville closer to maybe 425 here as we go into the rest of the morning. This morning, and I'm actually going to let me go back to our velocities here. So this again giving us an idea of maybe some of the winds that we're seeing up in the atmosphere, and some of those stronger winds. And again, we've had some pockets of stronger winds embedded in these storms out towards maybe White Oak Township, giving a good signal that yes, we could see some of those stronger winds here just to the north of Eagle Township. And this is again not a tornado warning, but a severe thunderstorm warning here, and that's where at least you want to just be inside and away from windows, because if you do have some stronger winds inside these storms, they may pick up some down tree limbs or maybe some debris that's already come off of something that's with the storms that have already passed through. So that could be potentially flying around outside as well. And again, we've said this all morning, but if you don't have to head out right now, give yourself some time and let this rain and these storms really pass through before you head out there, because you just don't want to be driving in this. It's still dark out, and we've already seen so many reports here tonight of flooded roadways, of rescues that we've been hearing about because people have been driving into flooded roadways, and we just need people to stay home until we can finally get these storms and these downpours to clear out of our area. So we've got some more severe thunderstorm warnings coming through. This is going to include eastern portions of Claremont County, goes into northern portions of Brown County here, and into portions of Highland and Adams County. And so these storms are going to continue to move off to the east. And then we have our one, I believe if it's still active, our one tornado warning, but they might have let that expire, Tara. I don't know if I see that anymore, and let me just double check.
I don't think so. I
It's
think
not
it
there,
has
right?
been dropped. It
Okay.
is just now that severe thunderstorm warning.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, so that's a
That's
little
a
bit
good
of good
sign.
news. Yeah,
It's
good
a
sign.
very good sign.
That
Even
it-
though there are some couplets showing, I will say
Yeah.
they must feel like that it is
Yeah.
weak enough.
Right, and it's stretched enough that the rotation
Yeah.
just basically wasn't as tight as it was, obviously, and just didn't warrant a tornado warning. So that is great news as well.
Yes, absolutely. We still have quite a few locations with severe thunderstorm warnings.
Yes.
We officially start the show at 4:25. So we are obviously going to continue to be on here with you, but let's kind of go through and talk about some of the severe thunderstorm warnings that we have in place. Let me get those on for you. And you can see just the extremely heavy rain with this. We're also picking up on the potential of hail. Just under 1 inch in the way of hail. So a severe thunderstorm warning goes until 4:30 for Grant, Kenton, and Owen. And some of the heaviest rain is in place at this time. We do not have rotation for a potential confirmed tornado here at home. It was just outside of home, and then we were warned because of that, but we didn't get any actual confirmation that it happened here. But this is from that same line that is definitely elongated and is producing extremely heavy rain, torrential rainfall, making the roads impassable in spots. There's a lot of lightning with this southern stretch. And then the heavy rain that just recently pushed out of the city prompted some additional severe thunderstorm warnings. So we have Brown, Claremont, and Highland under a severe thunderstorm warning until 4:45. And in addition to that, don't forget about the extremely heavy rain that has been resulting in all of our flash flooding. So I'm going to try and turn off radar so you can just get an idea of how much we're dealing with flooded roads. And noting that obviously severe thunderstorm warning down here for that heavy rain, the same progression is expected. So we're likely to see this severe thunderstorm warning continue to stretch to the east, especially in places that have yet to be touched. And so their atmosphere isn't as worked. Some of us here farther to the north, you are just continuing to deal with all the flash flooding. And so for what will likely be, at least right now, it goes until 5 a.m. I could definitely see them extending that. There's one until 6 a.m. Because the rain hasn't stopped. We are still seeing very heavy rain stretching from the city east, so Claremont to Brown to Highland. And then we have this secondary push here with all this heavy rain that is working its way to the east. So you're going to see that progressing. I'm also wanting to note that this looks like it has particularly strong winds. We're almost getting a little bit of a bowing here. And when we see that type of rain, it does look to be moving faster off to the east. I think I saw indications and that there were 70-mile-per-hour winds that were found. Was it at CVG or into the city? So this, so 70-mile-per-hour winds into the city. I mean, this is just, there's just so much power still, which is honestly rare. This late into the morning, a lot of times we lose that power through the overnight hours, but there's some exceptionally strong winds with those severe thunderstorm warnings that are progressing to the east. So that is really, I think, main focus as of right now as we continue to watch southern sections of Boone County. You have still Switzerland County, Gallatin County, Owen and Grant getting hit hard, but up next, likely to be added with a severe thunderstorm warning, will be Kenton and Campbell and Bracken. We expected this late. I was saying all day yesterday morning that I could see us going through 6 a.m. with potential severe weather. Let's hope that that does not continue for 2 more hours. But at this very moment here, 4:09, if you've been waking up to all the different alarms on your phone from flash flood warnings, tornado warnings, we do not have any tornado warnings at this moment. We are just dealing with severe thunderstorm warnings and flash flood warnings. I do see quite a few anchors coming in. I don't know if they are going to be trying to come on air with us or what we're doing. Bob, Jen, are you guys trying to get on air with us, or
we're just hanging?
You're just getting prepped.
Yeah.
Jen is going to be someone that is going to have to talk a lot about the extremes on our roadways. We've had roads closed. We have damage in areas, including Boone County and Franklin County.
On the red mic, just real quick.
Bob is coming in. And he's just on the red mic.
Jen's on green.
Jen is on green, so they know when to push buttons for us.
I just came in from the west side, coming down Queen City Avenue. I lived in Cincinnati my entire life.
Yeah.
I have never seen water rushing down Queen City Avenue in the way it was like I needed to be in a whitewater raft.
Yeah,
truly.
I felt the same way.
It was Queen City at sunset.
And I thought that way at 11:40.
And there was water just shooting out of sewers, like shooting straight up in the air. I've never seen anything like it.
When we were coming up Highland, was it shooting through those?
Jen says I didn't come up that way up Highlands.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
So the water, the immense water that we're finding. So again, my team is arriving. Unfortunately, Anne has worked with 2 teams now on the severe weather. She is an angel that she is here still helping me out when it comes to severe weather. But Anne, do you want to track anything that I've yet to talk about? And we can decide, guys, if you want us to continue.
I'm just wondering, yes, if we want to take a quick break here so we can gather ourselves before Tara has to come back on, potentially, since we don't have any active tornado warnings, we might be able to do that briefly. Again, we've been talking about the strong winds, and that's definitely a concern here as we go into the morning hours. But the flash flood warnings stretching basically right across our viewing area here, from our furthest point west all the way to our furthest point east here. We've got flash flood warnings out on the map. So in addition to the strong winds now, that it's kind of already been a concern here tonight, but I feel like we're transitioning a little bit more to the stronger wind potential as we go into the morning hours, especially across areas into northern Kentucky that haven't been touched yet. We could have some more concerns with those stronger wind gusts later on this morning and right now. So again, biggest bowing area, as Tara mentioned, those winds kind of bow out here. That's going to be pushing across Owen County, Grant County now, moving right through Owington. That's where you have the severe thunderstorm warning, and that's likely going to continue as we go through the rest of the morning. It'll be interesting to see if these winds continue to hold, if the National Weather Service will extend that. But that's where we've had some wind gusts potentially at least measured a little bit higher up in the atmosphere as far as radar is concerned, close to maybe 60, 70, 80 miles per hour. So, you know, a more serious severe thunderstorm warning coming our way here as we go through the early morning hours now on this Thursday. So, Tara, I don't know if you have any thoughts. If we want to keep going, we can keep going, or
I think
we can regroup.
Yeah, I think we can take a second and regroup. I just want to make the mention of Owen and Grant County at this time. I am not only seeing wind, but I'm seeing some hail. So stepping outside, trying to see if you're, you know, a Midwestern family that wants to check this out. You've been woken up and you want to see what's going on. You're not going to see much. You're going to see sheets of rain, trees bending because of the extreme wind and the rain in place. But we've got a lot of lightning with this, so it's not good to try and get pictures of and get outside. It is truly a dangerous situation. And if you're trying to drive around and scan and see the high water, you could get stuck. So that has been a major problem through the night. So again, currently, I would say Owen and Grant County stretching in through the southern sections of Boone County, finding the worst of it, but there are no current tornado warnings. So we are going to take a little break, and we will be coming back in just minutes to continue to update you on what has been a long night of severe weather that is not done. We are looking at several more, I'm hoping not hours, but if this energy shifts farther south, and there shows the potential of that, if this shifts farther south and out of the viewing area, but a lot of this has been training and getting stuck and then slowly moving south. And so I expect that we're going to see, actually, I see more severe thunderstorm warnings that have been added. So we do have officially Kenton and Grant, Pendleton. Let me see if I can get those to pop up here real quick on the timing, so I can let you know when they're going to end and when you're going to be hit. There we go. All right. So Grant, Kenton, and Pendleton, we have now severe thunderstorm warnings until 5:15. So I'm going to tell you something about Good Morning Cincinnati. This is going to be a very different show. We are obviously going to be checking in with a lot of reporters. We have several reporters that are going to be sent out, and they're going to be scanning some of the damage. We're going to make sure that they're safe because there's still rain and thunderstorms ongoing, and so that may be a little bit intermittent because of the severity of this activity. But again, a new severe thunderstorm warning has been added. You're really not seeing much yet, but has been added for us here. Grant, Kenton, and Pendleton, 60-mile-per-hour winds, hail size at under an inch, but still some hail. Some of the storms earlier did not have that. And we're still watching that severe thunderstorm warning. Grant, Kenton, and Owen. Threat is considerable, and a tornado is possible. So they're still talking some concerns on those winds. Every time I think I want to go off the air, we add another warning. Actually, just outside of us, that purple, yeah. They officially, that's Pike County. That is Pike County. That is, I'm just double checking. Yeah, We've seen a lot, but there is some purple that is in Adams County actually. So all right, hold on. Let me look at something here. Adams County, very northeastern section. You are under a tornado warning that has been confirmed on the ground. You seen anything with that, and have they mentioned where? Because
I think it's going to be out of Adams County by now.
I think it
honestly,
is too.
Tara, but yes, you're right, and we've got that very small sliver.
We still need to talk through it with it being in our.
Let me just confirm that nothing else has come up here with. Let me look right here, and
so we're able to chat with the National Weather Service. Yeah.
On here.
I'm switching radar sites to see if we can get a little better look into where that potential rotation is. So again, this is new. This is when it's purple, when it's highlighted in purple like that, that means there has been a confirmed tornado. I can see it towards Sunfish behind me. You can see that. I think it is outside of Adams County, but there's a reason why Adams County is still under that tornado warning.
I can see it too, and I think it's just in a more rural spot in the counties out there. I think closer to Piketon, which I believe is out of our viewing area here.
Okay, so yeah, I think so too.
I think it's well out of our viewing area, but it did clip far northern and northeastern portions of Adams County.
Okay, so I think
it is
towards
Piketon, Waverly, closer to those cities.
Like up here towards Sunfish and Elm Grove.
Mm-hmm.
You seeing it there?
Let me
okay.
just double check.
So Adams County, if your phone is going off at this moment and you have a tornado warning, there has been a confirmed tornado, but it looks to be outside of Adams County. But the National Weather Service has continued to keep you in this warning, and so I want to make sure that we're staying on it just in case. The worst of it at this moment, it is very rural. I'm barely getting any locations to show up for us, but I think here probably Sunfish to Hatch towards Tennyson. That is where that particular rotation is. And so just to give you an idea of placement, this is Adams County, this line right here. So here's Peebles. Here's just outside of our viewing area. Why that matters is Sunfish likely can't see us. While we are warning and we're letting them know, I think this circulation is where they are tracking a potential tornado moving off to the east, potentially here obviously with circulation heading up towards Waverly City. So, but we are still under that warning here in Adams County. So we should not be going off air because of that very reason until they clear us. We might be getting another tornado warning. Actually, this one that's popping up here south. So, all right, guys, we've got another tornado warning. It is popping up for us. Go ahead, Ann.
I can read it as you look at it, Tara.
You go ahead. I want to get the information on it. Switch over to Ann for a second.
Okay, yes, we're going down towards Grant and Pendleton counties here in Kentucky. So this is going to include Dry Ridge, stretching all the way over towards Falmouth. And I'm just going to double check here what the speed on this storm is going to be. Again, the storm located basically right over Dry Ridge right now, and I apologize because I'm right in front of the screen here for us. But okay, there we go. So Dry Ridge, Cherry Grove, you need to be in the lowest level of your home right now. Again, this is just a radar indicated tornado, but it's moving east at about 50 miles per hour. So these have a good clip on them here. Really all morning long they've been trucking along here. So let me put a track on this. And we're gonna go out east here, again at about 50 miles per hour. So Williamstown, right around 422, Locust Grove, 428, Hayes, right around 440, Falmouth, 442, and Falmouth, you are included in this tornado warning right now. We are at Bachelor's Rest at 450, and Berlin right around 455. So again, we have a new tornado warning. This is down in northern Kentucky, Grant and Pendleton counties here. This goes until 5:15. No, excuse me, that's the severe thunderstorm warning. This goes until 4:45. So we'll take off the warnings here. Again, give you an idea of where this warning is. So Dry Ridge over through Locust Grove. As I mentioned, Falmouth, Cherry Grove, Morgan, you are all included in that tornado warning as the storm continues to move across northern Kentucky. We're going to look a little bit closer here. Let me go back to our winds. So we're going to give you an idea of some of those stronger winds potentially. And it does look maybe the tightest rotation is just outside of the actual warning. I don't know if you're seeing that, Tara.
Delia to about Dry Ridge is where I'm picking up on the worst of it.
Exactly, right there. So,
Delia to Dry Ridge, absolutely. I need you in the basement. This changed like that. That's how fast this rotation was caught by the National Weather Service. And so this has gone and been upgraded from a severe thunderstorm warning to a tornado warning. Man, we have been working this system so hard that we keep losing some of our rotation products. Let me show you here. So that's your tornado warned area now, stretching from Dry Ridge and Cherry Grove towards Falmouth. So we have Owen out of it, but Grant and Pendleton under that warning. Let me see, hopefully I can get this back. Love if I could get that back. I think it popped in. All right, good. All right, so here we go. Everybody that is within these locations here, Delia, Stewartsville, towards Dry Ridge, Williamstown, the sirens are most likely going off. You've got your phone going off. This is what we're dealing with at this very moment. This is our only tornado warned location with possible rotation, especially towards, I'm hoping I'm saying that name right, Delia, here at 22. So going to be driving on 75. We're getting into a point where people are starting to drive now on area roadways. They are completely filled with water, including 75. While it is farther to the north, now that the heavy rain has been moving in, you are going to have some real problems driving. So staying home until this passes is advised. But it is shifting now. I think Dry Ridge. Dry Ridge is our focal point of concern towards Williamstown. So as far as roads are concerned, 75. If you live near 25, I've got some concerns for you, especially here in Dry Ridge. McCoy Road, Business Boulevard, Stewart Drive, 2225. If you live near there, definitely seeing some potential for circulation that extends down towards Williamstown and is moving off to the east at about 50 miles per hour. So it is moving fast. Looks like we just lost that velocity product again. I want to put on a tracker. So I'm going to show you actually the intense rain that is also following some of this activity. Noticing the purples here too, that is where I'm seeing some hail. So we've been picking up on some hail within this strong line of thunderstorms where wind gusts have been at 60 to 70 miles per hour. So let's take a tracker on it. Got to change this because it's moving so fast. Our other storms were at about 30 to 35. This is 50. So let's take it from Dry Ridge and take it off to the east. So I'm going to go with Knoxville at 428, Unity Church 430, Portland School 432, and 435 at Gene Snyder. So this is moving fast. We have damaging winds, most likely within this storm, and a potential tornado around the Dry Ridge area. Let's hope that my velocity product is going to come back so I can show you where we are concerned. All right, where I'm seeing the green and the reds coming together here. So it actually has expanded a little bit. That's always a good sign. Broader rotation is better than a tight couplet where we're seeing that color. But now looks like Dry Ridge shifting to the east. So driving on 25, do not do it. Stay in your basement for me in Williamstown. I will note that Delia and Stewartsville, you are out of the rotation now. I wouldn't say completely clear because we're not done with the rain and storms and the severe weather just yet. But I would say you can come out of the basement, just make sure that you're continuing to heed any additional warnings. But Dry Ridge down towards Williamstown, headed towards Knoxville, potentially Locust Grove. I want to make mention of Northcutt here. Northcutt, I'm watching you. You've got what looks like some potential rotation as well. I also want to check in with the National Weather Service and see if they have an additional information on what's going on. So, all right, so they've got a CC drop. That is meaning potential for debris ball near Piketon. I think this is outside of us. Okay, so that was that storm that was outside of Adams County. So that was thankfully not in this same spot, but yes, definitely still seeing the rotation. National Weather Service still seeing that rotation in the cell that we're currently on. So Northcutt through Dry Ridge, again, moving off to the east at about 50 miles per hour. We have a lot of lightning with this. If you're hoping to see a tornado, that is not likely with this. Through the night, we have had rotation, but it's been very tough to see because of the amount of rain that has been associated with this. So again, locations that need to remain in the basement or head there. Knoxville, it is headed towards you, potentially Locust Grove. Dry Ridge, you're almost in the clear. We just got that most recent scan. You see how you're turning just green, so your winds are just one direction rather than coming from both sides, which is the red and the green. Northcutt down to Williamstown, please continue to stay in the interior part of your home in the basement until we give you the all clear. Shifting east, Locust Grove, I want to make sure that you are staying safe. Goforth would be potentially in the line for this rotation. I want to broaden out, just make sure I'm not missing anything, because obviously we have had a lot added from the National Weather Service here recently. We saw that this was starting to bow. That is when your winds are getting exceptionally strong, and it means it's going to start racing farther to the east. And so this is going to push out of our viewing area. Some of that southerly push is going to be pushing out, which is good. But we still have this stronger energy that is impacting us here in through northern Kentucky, which up until this point, you haven't had much. It's been rather quiet. It has been stuck to the north, which is why we have all the flash flood warnings. It is now officially shifting south, which is good. We don't need any more additional very heavy rain in those spots that are already completely flooded. So unfortunately, that does mean that it is going to come in farther south. Continuing again, let's get you back in to the severe weather. Severe thunderstorm warnings in quite a few spots, but I really want to focus in on that tornado warning. Let's see if I can get back with velocity. I do see, obviously, it is now almost out of Dry Ridge, but Williamstown, it's still pretty close to you, and this does extend up to Northcutt. It is good that we have a broader point of circulation, but you're getting now in Knoxville. Knoxville, potential tornado. This is rotation that has been indicated by radar. We do not have confirmation on the ground. Down into Locust Grove. Goforth, you are going to be potentially seeing this next. So I'm going to put another product in that's going to show me where it's going to be going next. Let me increase this to 50 miles per hour since it is moving fast. I want to make sure that we have those next locations that are getting the warning. I want to let you know when you're going to see it next. Oh, it's not wanting to play nice with me here for a second. Do you have any new information?
I have not heard anything new from the Weather Service. They have, I think they're focused on that other tornado warning where we have the debris ball out in Pike County.
Outside
outside of our viewing area, which rightfully so. But you can go back to the tracker, Tara.
Let me track. She's got behind you what we're looking at for potential rotation. And so just outside of us, there was a confirmed tornado, but that was outside of Adams County. I'm taking you back farther south here. So you've got Locust Grove, go forth at 431. I've been prompting you to make sure that you are in the lower part of your house. Gene Snyder, 435. Hayes at 436. Catawba, 439. And 439 in Falmouth. That would be making its way into Pendleton County. If the National Weather Service continues to find the circulation and continue the tornado warning, up next 4 counties would be Bracken. So we are currently just right now Grant and Pendleton counties with the tornado warning. Let's put on the information so we can see the timing of this, and you can see the extremely heavy rain as well. So tornado warning goes until 4:45. We've got about 15 more minutes of watching rotation through both Grant and Pendleton counties. I think the worst of the rain now moving into Pendleton County. A lot of lightning flashes found here, but we also have those additional severe thunderstorm warnings that are expanding up into Boone, Kenton, Campbell, East, southern sections of Claremont. You've been hit through the night, but it's been more the northern part of the county, and Bracken now included in that severe thunderstorm warning. Let's head on over to Ann and see if she's noticing anything we need to point out and make sure everybody's aware of.
I mean, we still have as we've been saying, a little bit of a couplet where we have the reds on the radar coming together with the greens. That's where we would find the rotation inside these storms, and we still do have that on the radar, as you just saw with Tara. But it is not a tight little circle anymore. It's kind of, again, stretching out, and that's kind of what we saw with our last storm that ended up just being a severe thunderstorm warning. And would you look at that? We've got the cancellation of the tornado warning into Grant County because the bulk of that rotation is now into Pendleton County. You can see that on the rotation tracker. The purples, that's a good indication where we have some rotation within the storm with those higher winds. So this is coming basically right for Falmouth. So if you're in Falmouth, if you live in Falmouth, if you have friends, tell them to get into their basement. They are still in that tornado warning here. That goes for another 15 minutes. I'm going to go back to velocity because I think that gives a good indication of where the rotation was. So go forth basically right over you. Falmouth, you'll be next in line as this continues to push off to the east. It's moving very quickly, 50 miles per hour. So it's going to move across Pendleton County. And then eventually, if we do extend this tornado warning, if the National Weather Service does, Bracken County would be next in line. But this is where we've got the potential for the rotation. And again, it's getting stretched out a little bit more here. It's not a tight circle that we look for with really tight, strong rotation, and that would indicate maybe a better chance of seeing a tornado. So we do not have that, so that's good news. I think it is, again, just stretching out just a little bit more, in my opinion, and that's going to continue for Pendleton County here for another less than 15 minutes now, 14 minutes, but it's stretching out much more. And again, we just saw the same scenario, same symptoms happen here with that previous storm in the same situation. So that, I think, at least from what I'm looking at here and what I can see, winds are decreasing just a little bit with the last scan as well. So I think that's a good sign that maybe this would be able to be expired once it does at 4:45, and maybe they'll just, again, reissue a severe thunderstorm warning potentially. I guess that would be our best case scenario here as we go through the rest of the morning hours tonight. So that, again, is our one tornado warning that we have in place right now. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning stretching across northern Kentucky here. Those are going to continue, I believe, until 5:15.
They did let some expire.
The severe.
So Boone County is officially out, which is nice to see.
Yes.
A very southern section of Kenton County still under, and then stretching east, southern sections of Claremont. So you've got a little bit of Kenton and Campbell to Claremont. There's your tornado warning that is still ongoing through Pendleton County. I wanted to show you just the vast look at what is flash flood warnings, and Jen's going to be letting you know about those roads. Guys, I know we're pushing into showtime. If anyone is there in their spot when it comes to reporters and damage, we can start to potentially talk through that. Obviously, we have a tornado warning at this moment, so we don't want to do it this very moment, but if we can get the reporters and stuff ready, if Jen wants to talk through some traffic.
Yeah, they can take the computer full if they want.
Let's just take one more look at this cell just to make sure that I'm not seeing any sort of couplets popping up.
I will talk over you as on radar, Tara, just to give you an update from the National Weather Service here. As Tara's manipulating the radar here, you don't have to show me necessarily. But the National Weather Service is still concerned with the tornado warning that is down in Pendleton County. They're not ready to drop the tornado warning, but they don't necessarily believe that it is a storm that's producing a tornado on the ground. So that's good news, but they're still concerned with the strong winds, as are we. They're just thinking it might just be more of a severe damaging wind threat now versus potentially a tornado on the ground. But this is coming right over Falmouth. So if you're in Falmouth, please, hopefully you're already in the lowest level of your home, away from the windows, most interior room, because these are pretty significant winds coming through central portions of Pendleton County right now.
So I've got timing for you here in the next locations. We have 434 Bethel Church, 434 into Hayes, Catawba 437, same story for Falmouth. It is right on you in Falmouth. You may be hearing the roars. Bachelor's Rest 442. We have Lenoxburg 444 and Berlin at 447. Say it again, Maine. Where would you like me to head next? Okay, Christian, we've got a reporter out. I know that Jen has a lot to talk about when it comes to the roads. We got to be real careful because obviously we have this tornado warning, but do we want to check in with Christian? Let's get an update in the field because this has been a long night of severe weather and there's a lot of damage. Let's head to Florence. That is where we find Christian. He is taking a look at some of the damage we found in Boone County. Christian, what are you seeing?
Yeah, there's lots of debris strewn everywhere. Now, we're on Dream Street in Florence. This is near where US 42 and I-75 meet, just a little bit of a ways away from the Florence Y'all Water Tower. Now, there are plenty of broken trees and lots of debris in the road as we've been driving around. There's been businesses that have had their roofs partially torn off, including the Bob's carpeting across the street from where we are. Actually, bits and pieces of that roof landed in the parking lot of the roadway inn where we're set up. Our guests here say that this storm was like a freight train coming through, and then it lasted a few minutes during the worst part of it. Now, as we've been driving around, we've seen a few power poles actually snapped over on Industrial Road near 42. Seen plenty of Duke crews out as well trying to get the power back on. It's out currently where we are. We also checked out the Florence Y'all Water Tower because there are plenty of people online that were saying that there was actually a leak in the water tower and that maybe it suffered some damage. Well, we didn't see any damage on that. There was actually a worker who was going in there because the power is out to the tower. There's a pump that is not working, so an overflow valve was dumping water out there. It's designed to do that during these types of situations. So don't worry about the water tower. Everything is fine with Florence Y'all. But as we've seen, plenty of police out here. Lots of drivers just driving around trying to check out what's going on, see what damage there is to see around here. Unfortunately, when the lights are out, it is just tough to see, and there's lots of debris in the road, so I'm surprised there haven't been more flat tires from some of the nails, the wood that just people are kind of driving across because there's no lights on, so you can't really see it before you get onto it. But one last thing I do want to point out, because the power's out, all the lights are out on the street lights here, and drivers, I've seen plenty of them just driving right through that. When a traffic signal is out, you are supposed to treat that as a stop sign and not just drive right through it. So hopefully there aren't any accidents. And right now we haven't heard of any injuries in the area. Hopefully it stays that way. We'll continue to check in with police and see if there's anything going on. For now, though, live in Florence, I'm Christian Hauser. Back to you all in the studio.
Thank you so much for that update, Christian. We have more reporters out that are finding the damage, and obviously when the sky starts to lighten, which is going to be within an hour, we're going to see a lot more. I know that there is a lot going on the roadways. I want to take one more look at this still tornado warned area. So this is currently in Pendleton County. We have just outside of Falmouth, actually just shifting into Falmouth with that latest radar scan. So from Falmouth down to Four Oaks, this is a broad area of rotation that is shifting to the east. The National Weather Service not fully thinking that this is a tornado, but that we are finding winds at upwards of 70 miles per hour. And so we are still looking at, obviously, the potential for a tornado, but it's moving fast off to the east at about 50 miles per hour. So let me just give you the latest look at where this is going.
Tara,
yes.
But,
have something new?
They're upgrading that warning in Pendleton and Bracken counties for 80-mile-per-hour winds with the destructive tag.
Wow.
So it did just uptick with just this latest scan. Like the core is going to be maybe just south of Falmouth right now, at least what I'm seeing here.
From Falmouth to Four Oaks. Okay,
Yeah.
say it again. So they updated the tag
to destructive.
to destructive.
That's like highest severe thunderstorm warning tag that we could have. That's below tornado.
So I don't think we should go to you, Jen. I think we've got to stay on this cell. I wanted to get to Jen and talk traffic because it is a mess out there, but this is becoming still a very, very big concern. So again, Falmouth to Four Oaks, 27 right now is getting the brunt of this wind and hail, lightning, and extremes. So let's put a tracker so our next areas know where this is coming from.
And they're estimating 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, so that would be obviously more than the 70-mile-per-hour we were kind of just thinking. So
Worried about.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously destructive. That's in the writing of the severe thunderstorm warning from the National Weather Service.
Okay, so Bachelor's Rest at 4:44. You're about 5 minutes out from those destructive winds. This is an in-the-basement situation. This is in an interior part of your home, and you are not leaving, even if you're not seeing much yet. We want to make sure that you are just being extremely careful. This is not a heavily populated area. We're not getting a ton of cities to pop up. And sometimes that doesn't help because there isn't anything that is going to stop this from slowing down. But I'm really seeing, look at that towards Four Oaks. Let's see if we can get some actual numbers of the wind. Sometimes this doesn't do a good job, unfortunately. I'm only getting 40s. That is obviously wrong. So Four Oaks right now for me, is that Jenkins Lane possibly? It's not really coming in fully. Jenkins Lane, Bishop Ridge Road. Sorry, these names are extremely small. This is a area of rotation that is stretching from North Falmouth through Four Oaks and shifting east. Bachelor's Rest and Browning Quarter, you are up next. That extreme concerns on 27 and 22 when it comes to our roads. Really here towards Jenkins Lanes especially, you are getting hit exceptionally hard. This stretches up towards Catawba and outside of Caddo, but we're seeing some rotation there. Now it has broadened a bit more, but I actually think it's strengthening towards Browning Center. What are you seeing, Ann? Are you picking up on anything that I've not seen?
Nothing you haven't seen. I just have another update here from National Weather Service. They're looking at straight line winds with 80-mile-per-hour gusts.
So that's what they're thinking more so
Yeah.
than a potential tornado.
Yeah, it's shifted from potential tornado now, I think, to a damaging
just
straight line wind
damaging
threat
straight
for
line
us.
winds, which
Yes.
honestly could be
worse. Potentially, yeah.
And can affect more people because of the length. So exceptionally strong wind, again, 70 to 80 miles per hour is now the talk from the National Weather Service. This is headed towards Bachelor's Rest, Browning Corner. It is just the north of McKenningsburg. Very interesting that they're still keeping that tornado warning in place, but we have extended the severe thunderstorm warnings outside of our tornado warned location. And so
it looks like, too, I think the pocket of maybe the wind gust close to 80 miles per hour might be just to the east of Browning Corner there, just behind you, Tara, there, and just south and west of Brooksville. That looks like to me, I think, where there's a little pocket of really, really strong winds right there.
Okay, so actually out ahead of that main line.
Yeah, which is out of the tornado warning. That's what I've got on the velocity scans
Okay.
over here on the other radar. So just that might be just a spot where we have those gusts.
So we're going like right here. She's looking in between here.
Yes, right there.
So we've got Bachelor's Rest, and then you've got here Brooksville. Still obviously seeing very broad rotation, but that is not the concern at the moment. That's a racing line of winds that are and can take down tree lines. I mean, that is what we're dealing with this type of destructive wind. And there was worry about that in Illinois. That kind of communication wasn't expected here. We were more so worried about small spin-up tornadoes. But the National Weather Service feeling like that is what they are currently seeing in Pendleton County, and potentially here we'll see if they extend the tornado warning. It sounds like it's not what they're thinking is a tornado, so I'm not for sure if they'll extend that warning east. But that goes for 2 more minutes. I want to make sure we're not missing anything else, because obviously there's a lot going on out east of us, well east of us, thankfully. That activity is outside of home. So, Ann, do you want to take it and show me what you're seeing?
Yeah, again, right at the end of that tornado warning, so right at the end of the polygon, north of Browning Center here, east of Falmouth, where we could have some potential rotation still hanging on. It was a tornado warning, but I think the winds are extending out in front of that tornado warning right now, and I think that's what the National Weather Service is most concerned at this point in time. There's a little spot where you see these brighter blues coming in here. I think this is where we have maybe the strongest winds right now, potentially close to 70 to 80 miles per hour. But we could still have a little bit of rotation just to the east of Falmouth here. This would be just to the west of Berlin, right here.
Tornado warning.
Okay. And that probably just went away on my screen, or almost will in a minute.
In a minute, it will. So no longer are you under a tornado warning, but we are not in the clear from these extreme winds.
We have those severe thunderstorm warnings, still continuing here north of Mount Olivet. So I think that area is what I would say they're focused on, Tara.
And also interesting, they just continued the tornado watch.
Wow.
Until 11 a.m.
Wow.
For Carol,
I can pull that up for you.
Gallatin. Yeah, let's pull that up.
Let me get that behind me.
I'm going to read it, and she's going to pull it up. So we have now had our tornado watch extended until 11 a.m. for Carroll, Gallatin, Owen, Grant, Pendleton, Bracken, Robertson, Mason, also Brown, Highland, and Adams County. This has been extended, so that 5 a.m. you're seeing at the top banner there is wrong.
Yes,
it has
now
been extended until 11 a.m. for widespread wind gusts upwards of 70 miles per hour, isolated large hail, and the potential of still strong tornadoes. So that is meaning that the National Weather Service does not think we are anywhere done with what we are seeing. While we do not currently have a tornado warning, we do have still some ongoing severe thunderstorm warnings. Let me take this off and show you what's going on with those. So very heavy rain and wind and some hail. But these warnings go until 5:15 for Bracken, Claremont, and Pendleton. And then we've got Bracken, Brown to Mason towards 5:30. But since we officially have dropped our tornado warnings, again, still extremely strong winds now in Bracken County, I want to check in with my producer. I think is it still Maine? If we want to talk through with some of the damage that we've found in our reporters. I know Jen has been standing by to let us know about the road. Since we do not have a tornado warning, let's check in with Jen and see what we're finding on area roadways. Jen.
Red 5 standing by for you, Tara. As we take a look at those roads, take a break. And by the way, Tara and Ann have been unbelievable. So go get some water, take a break. She'll break in if she has anything urgent to tell us. So about maybe even just 20 minutes ago, 75 northbound had been shut down at 74 because of high water. They have been able to reopen the interstate, and they just turned the camera on me. But if they turn the camera around again, you would see that there are still some flashing lights there. They're trying to clear high water. And let me tell you what, it's high water. I drove down 75 towards downtown, and there were a couple moments where I couldn't see because the water was so high. But again, 75 northbound has reopened between 74 and Mitchell, but they are still clearing it, so one lane is blocked, and it looks like maybe we've got it broken down over the side of the road there, but that's not my big concern. But as we take a look at 75, I wanted to see if we could see any vehicles hitting some of that high water. You could see the lightning that just kind of came across the cameras there, because we also do have a report of high water on 75. It says northbound, I would say both directions, near downtown Cincinnati, near 5th Street. I'm not even joking. I could not see at one point, but the rain was really strong when I came through. So high water potential still on 75 at 5th Street. And there's a look as close as I can get to that area. I'm going to watch it for just a second and see if we can see anybody hitting those big puddles like I did. Looks like they're moving okay, but I just want you to be conscious. Anytime we have any kind of precipitation, I say to watch Fort Washington Way. Please be careful. That was another spot where I had a big pocket of water that scared me on Fort Washington Way. That's US 5071 right in downtown area, and they've got the camera pointing away from that too. So I can't really show you, but just be cautious that you could come across high pockets of water really just about anywhere this morning. Bob, I did want to quickly let people know too, we've got about 10,000 without power right now around the tri-state. Big pockets near Florence, about 4,000 there. We've got some out near to the east of Batavia. We've got about 2,000 on the west side, so we're seeing that as well.
Jen, mostly I just wanted to mention that the section of I-75 you were talking about, we do have some video of some of the really, really high water out there. Now, this is a bit earlier, but you can see what it was doing. This is the overnight hours. This is a time of day when you don't have a whole lot of traffic out on the roads, and you can see what it did even in the overnight hours as we got that very, very high water. And I believe this is that section right at 75 near 74, Jen, that you were talking about. We have a live drive right now headed toward Indiana, and that is that what we're looking at here, guys? Or is that, there it is. That, and it looks like it's gonna cut out on us right as we're taking a look. There it is back again. So heading out toward Indiana, I'm not sure, are we going to Aurora? Is that where we're heading out that way? Sydney is heading out toward Aurora. We've heard possibly there was an area where something got damaged, where a gas leak may have resulted, so we're going to take a look at that scene. This is video from Aurora, Indiana, as I understand it. This, nothing to do with the possible gas leak that I mentioned, but obviously damage from the storm in that area, and you're going to see that in lots of different places. I know we've got video from part of my drive-in. I had a situation so much like Jen's, where I was headed down Queen City Avenue. There it is, right? Okay, this is the video that I took coming in. I've lived in Cincinnati my whole life. I've gone down Queen City Avenue more times than I could possibly count. I have never seen water rushing down Queen City Avenue like I did as I was on my drive into work today. I could have been in a whitewater raft going down the section, say from LaFuel to a little bit past Sunset, as you get down to where it splits Queen City on one side, Westwood on the other. Tara, I don't know if you're ready for me to bring you back in or not, but the thing I think that's been most surprising to me with all of this, it is so widespread. It feels like, now maybe not everybody got a tornado or some straight line winds, but everybody, it feels like, got something.
Yeah, we really have.
Yeah.
And it's been a slow mover. I mean, the showers and thunderstorms that were at once tornadic were just dumping rain and continuing to do so well beyond any sort of severe thunderstorm warning. Instead, became those flash flood warnings. Look at them stretching from Ripley and Dearborn through the city, through Claremont to Brown, Highland, and Adams County. Now, the focal point has now been moving the storms down farther south. Boone County was hit very hard. Franklin County was hit very hard. Warren County was hit very hard. Those are some of the places that we really focused on through the night. But I will say that we now have a tornado warning outside of Louisville. This is not in the viewing area, but you can see that now that energy has shifted, and that's a good thing for us. You see all that lightning, that's going to pull that out and away. But because the National Weather Service has extended our tornado watch through 11 a.m., they clearly do not think that we are done. We have additional shower and thunderstorm complexes back to the west of us. That's what Ann and I were looking at. Is that why this has been extended? But really the heaviest line, the strongest winds have continued to progress farther outside of our viewing area. But let me get you in close, show you what we're looking at this very moment, which is still severe thunderstorm warnings. We have several counties. I'm going to take off the radar so you can see those particular counties. So severe thunderstorm warnings, Fayette, Franklin, and Descott to 5:30, and then also a little bit farther outside of the viewing area as well. So let me take off. There you can see some of the heaviest rain. I want to move it back into velocity. The problem that we were finding is that the chance for tornadoes has gone away, but that the winds have exceeded upwards of 70 to 80 miles per hour, which is why these severe thunderstorm warnings are in place. So officially outside of Pendleton County, which is good, but now Bracken, Robertson, and Mason seeing the brunt of this. Actually, Mason, you're up next, but we've been finding that some of the stronger winds have been advancing to the east. 70 to 80 mile per hour winds are taking out power lines. It's going to impact trees, but guys, that can pull down semis. So I could see that we're going to have not only issues with flooding and drivers that are to the side of the road because it's just too dangerous, but also that this kind of wind, if you are a truck driver in Bracken and Robertson, soon to be Mason County, actually even Brown County, dealing potentially with that soon, you are going to be dealing with the impact on drivers significantly here as we move towards 5 a.m. as more and more people are getting out. So I want to show you where some of the strongest winds are at this very moment, kind of stretching from outside of Mount Olive. So Georgetown, you're likely that those winds are picking up. You're just kind of at the edge of the severe thunderstorm warning. Augusta, finding some of the worst winds here recently, but it is shifting to the east. Driving on 875, getting hit exceptionally hard. Brooksville, still with some very strong winds. Same story for Bridgeville to Mount Olivet, but it is pushing east. So increasing winds and concern over Fern Leaf at this very moment to Murphysville and Mays Lick. So it has gotten significantly better in Pendleton and is now heavily impacting Bracken, Robertson down into Mount Olivet, and then east. And not looking at what is tornadic activity right now, it's because of 70 mile per hour winds that will just completely mow down trees, which is why I'm scared about semis driving. There are a lot of semis that are backed up because they couldn't drive for hours through the overnight hours, and they're now starting to get a move. And so that could be a real problem. Thankfully, it's not near the city, so hopefully that helps out, but any of these roads here to the east could be dealing with some issues there. SUVs can be heavily impacted with winds of this concern and wiping out possibility. I was checking with Duke Energy. I don't know if we have those numbers. Let me see if I can get them really quick. We've had upwards of 9,000 at one point through the night. Let me see Ohio and Kentucky. We've got 10,000 without power right now in both Ohio and Northern Kentucky. Northern Kentucky with 6,000 without power. So obviously that's going to be impacting travel with everybody, seeing flashing lights and making it very difficult. And we haven't lightened the sky yet, so you're not going to be able to see when roads are completely covered in rain. So again, still with some ongoing severe thunderstorm warnings. They are now farther north through Brown County into Adams County, and then Bracken, Robertson, and Mason, with this biggest concern of 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. Again, that's severe thunderstorm warnings. Timing, let me see if I can get the exact timing on here, so that we can make sure that you are staying weather aware. So Bracken and Brown to Mason, your warning ends at 5:30. That is still 34 minutes away. Severe thunderstorm warning just outside of the viewing area. That goes until 5:30 as well. So that's just farther south. But you see how that's kind of bowing down to the south. That's pulling that energy away. So that should help to decrease the extremes that we are seeing farther to the north. Who do we want to check in now with? I know we've got a lot of damage. We have flooded roads here across the tri-state. So Maine, tell me where you would like to go next, and I'll come back to you with an update weather-wise. Seems like we've got some chime-ins. You guys have been letting us know what you're seeing. If we want to take a look at that now, Bob's going to walk us through that. And wow, look at that lightning.
Yeah, this video was near downtown Cincinnati. As you can see, it was sent to us by viewer Seth Robinson, I believe. And you can see just lighten up the sky over downtown as it did throughout the area in the overnight hours. And I believe we have another one, this one of a car that belongs to one of our morning producers.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. Whose car is this, you guys?
Amber.
That's Amber's
That's
car?
Amber's car?
Oh, Amber, that's
Oh, I'm
stinks,
sorry,
man.
Amber.
Just a few inches from causing even more significant damages than the scrapes and everything else that'll be in the paint out there. But certainly glad that Amber was not out there and injured in any way. There are going to be lots of pictures, but as Tara always warns in moments like this when we are showing images, do not go out and take pictures if it is not safe to do so. If Tara has been telling you you're in a spot where you need to be in your basement, there's lots of lightning in the area, whatever, save the pictures for later. But if you do get a few, by all means, send them in, local12.com/chime-in. Have you ever,
No.
you and I have, between us, done traffic for 20, 25 years on and off. I have never experienced a drive-in quite like that because, you've seen high water before, but not in
They have
spots,
cameras on 75. Let me see if I can bring one up.
Not in spots like I saw it before.
No, I have not. And it's not coming down as much as it was when you and I were coming in. But honest to God, I was white knuckling it like it was a snowstorm.
No, I was the same coming down Queen City.
Because it came down so fast that the roadways were so covered, and that's why they earlier had to shut down 75 at 74, which has reopened, by the way. But it was so covered across the roads that it was not able to drain fast enough, and it was very dangerous.
One of our videographers, Eric Gerhardt, headed out toward that spot at Queen City and Sunset because I let him know I've never seen it like this before. By the time I think he got out there, it had stopped. Like it had all just came in this huge. That's why there's always flash flood warnings and this huge rush.
That you and I both saw in different spots was the rain was coming down so far. I thought it was a water main break, but the water was shooting out of the catch drains because it looked like a volcano almost. Yeah, it was crazy.
So, a lot going on, lots of issues with the roads. Again, shout out, and Jed did this earlier, and it's worth doing again. We had Ann and Tara here just all night keeping an eye on things for us, and we're so grateful for that. We have reporters out. Christian Hauser is out. Sydney Hawkins is headed toward, I believe, Aurora right now. So we have lots of areas to cover. Again, you can help us with that if you are able to safely take an image of damage you may have seen or anything like that. Local12.com/chime-in, and you can send those pictures in to us.
Be careful out there. Are we going to take a break right now and start, or are we just going to go roll through it? It's 5 a.m. We're just going.
Okay. All right.
Let's just go for it.
Tara, are there anything in terms of warnings right now? Anything new on the board? Or I know some of the things have come off the board, but just to make sure we have a reset here where we are.
So no tornado warnings, which is a good thing. We've had plenty of those through the night. We do still have several areas that are under severe thunderstorm criteria. And that has been for winds pushing 70 to 80 miles per hour. I mean, that is straight line damaging winds that can knock down power lines and trees and even take cars off the road. It can heavily impact SUVs and semis. So let me show you those areas. And actually, they have trimmed it back a lot. So that is some good news. Okay, so I'm going to take the radar off so you can really see the difference. We've officially lost our severe thunderstorm warning in Bracken. We've officially lost and allowed to expire our severe thunderstorm warning over Robertson. We now only have severe thunderstorm warnings through Brown and Adams and Mason County. So you're seeing a lot of red to the north. That is all the flash flooding that we have been dealing with, where we had just a swath of rain and severe weather continue to pummel the same areas for hours. And so that's why there's so many issues on the roads. But we've also had severe weather in the way of tornadoes, potentially at least 2 that we know of. I think Boone County, Franklin County will get confirmation from the National Weather Service. But let me take a look, Maine. I know you want to head out to Christian. I'm pretty sure he's in Boone County where we've had some of the biggest damage. We're going to get to him in just a second. I do want to take a look at the rain and the wind still ongoing for some of these counties here for us in our eastern part of the viewing area. So at this point, There is not a lot to show in the way of severe thunderstorm warnings, which is good. It actually doesn't look nearly as strong in the way of wind or rain, which is definitely nice to see at this point, but it is still exceptionally strong where you're seeing the yellows and the reds coming together here. So from Georgetown through Ripley and Maysville, a lot of times right ahead of that line is where the most destructive winds are going to be. So as that is progressing to the east, it's on top of you in Ripley, but it should be starting to eventually get better as that progresses to the east. Still some torrential rainfall in place and lightning as well. But Maysville, this is going to be heavily impacting you. Maybe you're already dealing with some of those extreme winds. Not as bad currently over Adams County, but you're in the extension of the severe thunderstorm warning because we are getting you prepped for this strong line that is advancing to the east. But at this point, that is our only spots that have the severe thunderstorm warning status. Look at all that rain, very, very heavy rain. It is increasing now in Adams County, some of the heaviest rain through Ripley and Maysville, and again, a good bit of lightning flashes in place. While I don't want anyone to deal with the severe weather that we had through the night, the energy has really shifted farther south. This is a good sign. The only problem is the National Weather Service has extended our tornado watch until 11 a.m. for quite a few spots. And actually, meteorologist Ann Campolongo, who's been here through the night, she was here since 3:30 yesterday, tracking these storms as I got in overnight to track them with her, is asking the National Weather Service why the extension, because it does look like that energy is shifting farther to the south, but I'm seeing some additional rain now popping back up in northern sections of Boone County. This is just not wanting to end for us here, folks. So some additional heavy rain through Boone County making its way towards Independence. This is not warned, but we've already had a lot of rain in these spots. And so that could mean additional issuing of flash flood warnings. I do want to make my way back to Boone County. Christian Hauser is there where we've seen a good bit of damage in Boone County. Let's check in with him and see what he's finding.
Yeah, Tara, we're live just off Dream Street here in Florence. I-75 is just a little bit to my right, and then US 42 crisscrosses that just down the ways a bit. Now, most importantly, as of right now, we have not heard of any injuries from this storm here in the Florence area. Hopefully it stays that way throughout the morning. Now, I will warn people, there is debris on many of the roads, so if you need to leave anytime soon, drive a little slower than usual. You may come across some branches or even some snap pieces of wood that have flown off from some of the roofs that have been lost in the area. And there have been several businesses that the roofs have just been ripped off or partially ripped off and then kind of strewn about, including the Bob's Carpeting behind me in this area. Bits and pieces of it are actually here in the parking lot of the Roadway Inn where we are. And guests here, they had to hunker down as the worst of this storm came through. It's been kind of on and off in the past hour or so with heavy rains, and then it'll lighten up a little bit. Heavy rains again. The winds, though, they've been mostly calm. I'd say nothing too drastic right now. I'm looking at some trees behind me, and the branches are just kind of gently swaying, so nothing too strong in terms of wind. One person I did speak with, though, he was actually recording a video of the rain and just how powerful the rain was, the winds were as the storm was coming through. And then a power transformer blew right outside of his room, giving him quite a scare. And then here's what another guest said the storm was like right as it rolled through at its peak.
We heard the train sound coming through, like the wind, heavy wind. We heard it coming through, and I told my roommate to go in the bathroom and make sure she stayed in until everything was cleared, because I was trying to make sure everything was going to stay close enough before I could run in there. But it only came through for like 3 or 4 minutes, and it was gone. And that's when we all came out. I mean, you'll see everybody out there standing out right now.
Now, as we've been driving around, we have seen a few power poles that have been snapped, for instance, over on Industrial Road near 42. And the power is out in certain sections in the area here, including this area. I do see a Duke truck behind us, though, working on one of the power transformers. I'm sure they'll get to this one that blew out here as well. And then Florence Police, they're responding to all sorts of damage and other calls for service as well. But we'll continue to keep an eye on things here in Florence. I'm Christian Hauser. Back to you all in the studio.
All right, Christian, thank you so much. Obviously, the severe weather battering spots all over the tri-state overnight. We're starting to see the damage left behind. We'll see even more once the sun comes up. At Local 12, Sydney Hawkins, we caught up with her on the way to Aurora. Sounds like she is in that area at this point. Sydney, what are you seeing now?
Yeah, Bob, the good news is the heavy rain, we're not seeing much of that right now, but we are seeing some damage in this area. I am on Cole Lane and East Lowry Creek Road. I want to show you, our Chris Arnold was here last night, and you can see the damage that multiple crews are here trying to help clean up. This looks like a family home. You see several cars in this area, and I know it's pretty dark. We're going to work to get some light on that, but that roof is completely off. And when you come on the street here, again, Cole Lane, East Lowry Creek Road, power lines are in the road. So they have, Dearborn County Emergency Management has this entire intersection blocked off. You also see, I want to come out here a little bit, and you can see trees split in half, limbs in another person's yard. So again, this is Cole Lane, East Lowry Creek Road. No timeline of when this area will reopen. Aurora Fire Department is here right now, again, just helping this family where the roof has come off. So no timeline of when this intersection will reopen, but we'll be here throughout the morning giving you a live look. Bob?
All right, Sydney, thank you. Obviously, with these kinds of storms moving through, lots of power outages scattered around the tri-state. If we have that map, we'll pull it up for you just to give you a feel for where there might be areas that are a little bit worse off than others. But you can see right now we're at about 10,000 across the tri-state, and it is scattered pretty good. Looks like down in that Florence area where we've heard about so much potential damage. Down where Christian Hauser, I believe, is stationed right now, you've got 4,000 just in that area. Couple thousand on the west side coming into Cincinnati, couple thousand a little further out east as you head out 32 past Batavia. So lots of power outages in the area. Jen's been watching the roads very carefully this morning because, as you can imagine, high water in spots all over the tri-state. And this is not just your normal spots. This is not just Kellogg Avenue near 275. It is scattered in spots where we don't often see high water, even with heavy rain. That includes the interstates. Jen, what do you got?
Yeah, I have a new interstate closure for you if we want to go to the traffic map here whenever we get a chance. That is the ramp from southbound 75 to the Norwood Lateral going eastbound. So if you head down 75 southbound and you normally go eastbound on the Norwood Lateral towards 71, you can see all the traffic stopped there. Let me take this larger. And you can see at the very top of the screen an officer blocking that ramp, and traffic is stuck on the ramp. I'm not sure yet if it's high water or if it's a crash. Let's see what ODOT says here. Due to flooding, it's high water. Yep. So again, that's southbound 75's ramp to the Norwood Lateral 562 eastbound, currently shut down to high water. You can see an officer as we take a live look at this camera trying to get through the area. They're probably trying to get up there and get the drains clear or whatever causes the backup of the high water. So we'll keep you updated on that. And I do have another area where I'm seeing slow traffic. ODOT is not reporting a crash here, but I looked at my Waze app, and Waze app users are reporting a crash on 275 at 74 in Whitewater Township on both the ramps that would go to 74 from 275. We're seeing slow traffic there. Could be a crash or could be high water. I do have good news though. 75 northbound is now completely open after 74, where it had been shut down for high water. The interstate had been shut down for a good hour or two because of that high water. You're seeing it clear there. We do have high water on 75 northbound coming out of downtown Cincinnati. It looks like it's backing you up. If you're coming from Kentucky into Ohio, you're backed up onto the Brent Spence Bridge because of that. Traffic there, you can see just a little bit slow coming off the Brent Spence. And then high water was reported along US 5071 Fort Washington Way that comes across downtown. Bob mentioned the power outages, so we'll keep watching those for you as well. But it's going to be a rough one out there.
It is.
Although I will say, with the rain, at least in the metro area, calming down for now, hopefully some of that high water can have a chance to drain.
And I know that was the case out on Queen City, where we were talking about Eric Gerhardt, one of our videographers, got out that way probably within 45 minutes from when I went through there, and it was like whitewater rafting.
Right.
So things are at least better in that spot. But Tara, I know we still have other issues still on the map. No tornado warnings right now, but no. I still see plenty of colors sort of streaming across the map there.
Yeah, we did get some confirmation from the National Weather Service, by the way, because you can see the energy is shifting, and it is shifting out and away from home. That is a very good sign because the earlier severe weather got stuck. And so that's where we really found our biggest issues with flash flood warnings that are still in effect. So likely our tornado watch is going to be ending well before 11 a.m. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of some breathing room, considering it's been a long night for a lot of us. But we still have some areas that are highlighted here that do have a severe thunderstorm warning. I just want to make mention of those if we can, talking through some of what could be wind gusts up to 70 to 80 miles per hour. This line has been notable in the way of wind. Extremely heavy rain, lightning flashes, and even some hail has been indicated at times within these storms. So let's take off all that information. You can see it goes through Adams County until 6 a.m. and then ends at 5:30. So we got another 17, 18 minutes here until that particular warning is done for Adams and Brown and Mason. And we'll see if that gets extended at all. But if I take those off, you can see a little bit better where some of the heaviest rain is. That does extend for southern sections of Highland. A lot of Adams County getting hit the hardest at this moment, Brown County as well. But Brown, it's more moderate rain at this moment. The heaviest rain is through what is Adams County here and southern sections of southern sections of Highland, northern sections of Adams County. So let me take a look at the wind. This is the velocity that we've been watching. While it is not tornadic, and I'm very happy for that, where you're seeing some of that yellow and out ahead of it the green, that is where those particularly strong winds have been found. And so West Union is going to be making its way to you. You possibly are already feeling the extremes from the winds shifting to the east. Still some stronger winds outside of Ripley and Maysville, but again, this is advancing to the east. So a lot of the impacts right now are going to be happening in Adams County. And you still have that warning until 6 a.m. So we are still in the thick of it, especially in Adams County, but it is looking a lot better than what we were seeing even an hour ago. I was picking up on some rain outside of the city, back over Boone, Kenton, Campbell. This is not severe. If you're thinking, oh, are we going through another round? No, that is just some additional lighter rain. We do have some heavier rain now through the southern sections of Owen County, but you are not under any sort of warning. You are actually outside of that energy that is the strongest, pushing now towards Lexington. You can see it from Louisville to Lexington. So we're still watching here, very eastern portion of our viewing area, dealing with some severe weather. It is not currently in Highland County for a warning, but you still have some heavy rain. The bulk of it is over Adams County, and actually they just trimmed back, even taking Peebles out of that. So happy to report it looks better at this very moment, but I think we are going to lighten the sky here very soon, and we're going to really start to see the damage that we've had here in the tri-state. Again, Boone County, Franklin County, potentially Warren County had some big indications of damage. And so we are, I think, going to be going to break, guys. And actually, we're going to go back to Bob. We're going to come back to Bob, and I'm going to keep you updated on the severe thunderstorm warnings right now, more so impacting Adams County.
Yeah, Tara, we're going to keep rolling for right now, just all the way straight through. We'll get to breaks later. Just a lot going on right now to keep track of. So Jen and I have been describing all morning what the roads were like, especially as that rain was really, really coming down. And these are the kinds of things you may still find out there. Jen described this really well, but look at that. Look at the sewer like a geyser, because the water is that's not a water main break per se. That is just so much water going into the storm sewers and it's firing back up into the air. I saw the very same thing as I was heading down Queen City Avenue this morning, and I keep going back to that experience because I've gone down Queen City in the rain more times than I can count, and I have never seen it like it was this morning as I got down near right around sunset, maybe a little bit before that. As you come down the hill from LaFuel, Westsiders, I know you know what I'm talking about, and anybody who's been on that major thoroughfare, Queen City Avenue, you know what that's like. As you get down, you head toward that UDF, pushing on down the hill to where it splits between Queen City and Westwood. And the water was streaming. I didn't think I was going to be able to continue. I thought I was going to have to turn around because, as we always tell you, the water's covered like that. You need to be extremely cautious about whether or not you are going to try to proceed, because you could end up in trouble in a hurry. I think maybe we've got that video that I shot out of my car window as I was heading down the hill.
Wow.
And again, you're on a hill here. This is not a flat area. Jen, I know you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do.
And that water was just down, and you can see another spot up here on your left where you had a similar situation to what we showed in that other video, where the water was just, there it is right there, just pushing back up out of the storm sewer. Now, we did send a videographer that way, and it sounds like most of that water that was rushing down Queen City Avenue has now found another home. It is not quite that deep anymore, which is a very good thing. In terms of people having flooding in that area, I can't imagine what that must be like in terms of in their homes possibly and that kind of thing.
I don't live off Queen City Avenue,
Right.
but I had water in my basement when I left the house this morning. I had to clear a drain right outside with my hands. I had to be lifting leaves out of it and everything, so you may want to check your garages. I said basement, I meant garage. In my garage, just luckily I got to it in time.
Yep.
But yeah, do we want to take a look at the roads real
Yeah,
fast?
I think so.
Still have some
Because
problems out there.
interstate-wise, we're still messed up, right?
Well, we do have one interstate closure right now, and we've got some slow spots, and therefore high water. So right now, the ramp from southbound 75 to eastbound 562, the Norwood Lateral, is closed. You can see traffic sitting on that ramp. So that would be if you're coming down 75 and you normally head over 562, the Norwood Lateral eastbound, going towards 71. That's the ramp that's shut down right now. And ODOT says it is because of high water. So again, I drove down 75 earlier. Not this far north. I was down closer to downtown. And when that rain was coming down, I was actually scared. The water was so high on the interstate, it just didn't have time to drain. We also have slow traffic reported on 275 in Whitewater Township, right at the ramps to 74. A crash was reported there earlier. And then going down, I mentioned that the 562 there, but we did clear all the lanes that had been shut down on 75, north of 74. They had been closed for an hour or so because of high water, maybe even more than that. But we do have high water reported also on 75 northbound at 5th Street, because in that area we've got high water that just can't drain quickly enough. And you can see a little bit of slow traffic on the left-hand side of your screen. That's folks coming northbound off the Brent Spence Bridge onto the Ohio side. So you're a little bit backed up there. We've got high water reported along Fort Washington Way. Kind of a nice looking sky this morning as we get a little break there. That's down near Florence, where I know there were a lot of problems as well. The roads, you can see all the spray coming off the interstate, but it does look like people are moving along okay through that area. It doesn't mean you should be, rushing. I would give yourself some extra time out there this morning so you don't have to feel rushed on the roads, because I'm telling you, you could come across high water out there in just about any spot that hasn't had a chance to drain.
And it's so widespread.
Right.
As we get ready to kick it back to Terry here, what I could not believe is usually it'll hit Florence or Aurora or the West End or what, but there was no or. It was and. Everybody got something.
And I don't know what it is about 75, if it's all the construction or the way it's made, but it seems to be along 75 where we've had highway interstates, or high water on the interstates, I should say.
Almost right there as it runs along the Mill Creek.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
but
not,
then also
it's
from
not
downtown too.
Yeah. Tara, we're going to kick it back over to you. Give us the latest. What warnings do we have left? What's ahead here?
Yeah, we've had a lot of warnings trimmed back.
Okay.
So looking much better at this very moment, though I will say you have extremely heavy rain right now in Peebles, but you do not actually have a severe thunderstorm warning. So I'm kind of covering the information, but Adams County, kind of central pointing south, you still have your severe thunderstorm warning until 6 a.m. This has been more about the wind. We're not expecting any additional tornadic activity, but winds have been 70 to 80 miles per hour. This has been racing off to the east at about 50 miles per hour. So thankfully that has been allowed a lot of those warnings to be trimmed back rather fast, but still considerable rain. I mean, can't drive kind of rain happening for us here in Peebles. You've got a lot of lightning flashes that are distracting you as well, but the actual severe portion is farther south. So let's take a look at some of those winds. This is when I turn to the velocity product and I can show you where we're seeing some potential extremes. I want to make sure that I've got the right radar site on. We've got a lot of different radars that we can take a look at, and yep, Wilmington is my best site. So I think actually some of the strongest winds there towards Concord and West Union, but what typically happens where we see some of these colors changing, it's the strongest just out ahead of it. So still some concern over Adams County for 70, 80 mile per hour winds remain off the roads. This can overturn a semi. This can heavily impact especially SUVs when you have winds this strong, but taking down power lines and trees, that can obviously happen when you have this kind of wind. Now, we still have, guys, a tornado watch that had been extended until 11 a.m. That says PM, but it's 11 a.m. And that's for all these locations in yellow. We're kind of updating on the fly. Hands in the background trying to help me with all this, so I certainly appreciate it. But we're expecting those tornado watches to be trimmed back once we lose some of those extremes that are still happening for our easternmost locations. And the reason why we have more confidence in that is because that line is finally moving farther south. It was stuck on top of us, which is why Jen's been talking about seeing water on roads that, you know, typically are not a problem, but they have been for us here this morning and overnight. So that stronger line, the energy is shifting, the severe weather is moving farther and farther away, but we're just not quite seeing that out of our easternmost locations yet. But this is more of a Louisville, a Lexington issue going forward, but we're obviously in the cleanup stage from the extreme rain that we've had. I do want to show you all of the different flash flood warnings that we still have in place. So let's take you on a track of that. There's no additional rain at this moment, but flash flood warning means that our roads are dangerous, that you should stay off of it if you can, but also that our waterways are full and they are complicating the travel. So flash flood warning for Dearborn and Ripley, that goes until 7:15. So that has been extended. Sorry if I'm covering some of this up. We have into the city. So we have Campbell, Hamilton, and Kenton. That goes until 6 o'clock. We'll see if that is extended, but no additional rain at this time for the city, which is good. Allow some of that water to recede. We do have some additional rain here, though, for you through Brown and Claremont. This particular flash flood warning goes until 7 a.m. And then your flash flood warning farther east, that right now has been in place until 6 a.m. That goes for Highland and Adams. And also, obviously, that severe thunderstorm warning that is still ongoing for us there in Adams County. Some of the most considerable weather that we found was Boone County and in Franklin County. There was even talk on a potential gas leak because of the damage, and that's where we're going to head now. Sydney is in Aurora in Indiana, letting us see what she's finding so far, and we continue to lighten the sky. That's going to help us locate some of the damage. So how's it looking for you, Sydney?
Yeah, good morning to you, Tara. We are still on Cole Lane, East Lowry Creek Road, and you're still seeing that power line that we showed you just a minute ago. This is actually in the street. So Dearborn County Emergency Management has this intersection blocked off. It's been that way since about 2:30. You can see that power line coming into the street here on both sides of, again, Cole Lane, East Lowry Creek Road. Aurora Fire Department on the ground, as well as Dearborn County Emergency Management. They tell me they have been out. We know this road, this intersection shut down since 2:30. They've been out all night, just kind of surveying the area, finding the damage, looking for any people who may be injured. Right now, we know at least one person has been hurt in this storm overnight. Dearborn County Emergency Management says that person denied treatment, so I believe they're expected to be okay, but that's what they're doing right now in Aurora and across the county, just looking for anyone who possibly could be hurt in this mess that we're seeing. So I want to take you around. You see those that split tree, some lightning in the background. This entire intersection blocked off, but I want to take you back to, this is a residential area. You see several homes around this stretch. Our Chris Arnold was here last night, and he was showing us this one home that is completely, it looks like a shed maybe at the back of this home. The roof is completely off, the garage door torn off. Again, Aurora Fire Department here right now just trying to clean up this entire stretch. So this is what we're seeing as of 5:30 right now. Still no timeline on when this intersection will reopen. Again, Dearborn County Emergency Management working to see if anyone is hurt across this county. So we'll be here throughout the morning providing updates with what they find in the area. I'll send it back to the desk.
All right, I'm going to take it really quickly because I have a new problem. We were reporting high water on 75 northbound on the Ohio side of the Brent Spence Bridge earlier. And right now, ODOT says they have now closed all the lanes that go to 75 northbound off the Brent Spence Bridge. And traffic is being forced off onto 71 or US 50. I think you can also exit off there onto 2nd Street. Or 5th Street, but if you were planning on coming across the Brent Spence Bridge, going northbound from Kentucky into Ohio and continuing on 75 northbound, they have those 75 northbound lanes blocked right now. If you look in the distance at this camera, you can see the flashing lights there. And the traffic that is coming off, coming towards the camera here, that's traffic being forced off either onto that 2nd Street ramp or to US 50 71. So again, if you're heading right now from Kentucky and you want to go into Ohio, you can either detour through downtown or you could go ahead and get over to 471 to continue that way. But the lanes that continue northbound 75 into Ohio off the Brent Spence Bridge are closed. From what I'm told, is high water on the Ohio side. And if you think about it, it dips down there right as you're coming off the Brent Spence Bridge and as you're heading into Ohio. So I bet there's water that's collected right there. And that's why they're pushing folks and not allowing them to exit onto the Ohio side of 75, pushing you off onto Fort Washington Way there.
I know a lot of people in the overnight hours had the phone go off, whether it was a flash flood warning or a tornado warning and all those kinds of things. Ann Campolongo and Tara were both here through the overnight hours, sort of tracking things for us, and we're so grateful for that. Christian Hauser came in this morning to kind of help us out a bit as well. He's down in the Florence area.
There's a lot of damage I'm seeing in Florence.
A couple of things going on down there, including, and I don't know if Christian can hear me at this point, but Christian, I saw the same thing you did earlier. There was talk that the water tower had been damaged and was leaking, and it was on social media and all the. What did you learn about that situation? Can we start there?
Well, Bob, I must say, if it's on social media, it's got to be true, right? Well, we did see that, so we went over there to the Florence Y'all water tower to check it out. It was not damaged that we could see. That's more of an exoskeleton that protects the inner water storage system in there. And what a worker on site there, he showed up as we were kind of out there. And basically the power was out. So a pump that would normally be kind of pumping the overflow water out of there, it did not have any power. It was not working. So all the rainwater was just kind of coming up. It was, we've got some video that we'll try to get out there to give people an idea of what this was. But the system was working as it's designed. This water flow was flowing back out where it should have been. So as far as we're aware, there is nothing wrong. There's no damage with the Florence Y'all water tower. If that changes, we will certainly update you as soon as we know. But that is because the power is out, and the power is out here, as you can see. And actually, one of the transformers up there on that power pole, a guest in the roadway in where we are, we're just off I-75 near US 42 on Dream Street. A guest here, he was getting a little bit of a cell phone video of just how powerful the rain was, how strong the winds were, and one of those power transformers just down there out of sight, it actually blew, and you could just see how scared he was, how shook he was by that. You can see the debris here. Now, this is not from the roadway in. It's actually from across the street at a carpet store. There's, you can just kind of see the hint of the roof line there where, well, I guess there isn't much roof left on that little section of it, but all that ended up getting tossed over to this side here. And to give you an idea of the roof that we're talking about, this is right here, just a traditional shingle roof. Looks like it's on some plywood underneath of that, but that got kicked all the way over here. I'd say that's probably about 250, 300 feet, about a football field length of airtime that it had. The crews are out here doing the best they can to get the power back on, but it is out for quite a few blocks, and it's out in pockets as well. Over on Mall Road, parts of it do have power. I saw some lights on inside the mall. I don't know if they were actually the security lights, but it looked like the normal lighting to me. So these crews are going to be busy out here for a while trying to get the power back on. And the Florence police, they've got their hands full with calls for debris, stuff like that in the roadway. So if you are going to be heading out before the sun comes up, make sure that you give yourself a little extra time and a little extra space and slow down so that you can see something if it is in the roadway. We've seen plenty of kind of tree limbs, pieces of wood, from, from stuff like this that you don't want to run over with the tire, or else you could end up having a really bad morning. But we'll keep keep an eye on things here. Hopefully once the sun comes up, we can get a much better idea of just how extensive this damage is, because right now, in the middle of the dark, we've only got a few lights that we're able to shine on the situation. But once that sun comes up, we should have a much better idea. For now, live in Florence, I'm Christian Hauser. Back to you all in the studio.
We're close, Christian. We are close to getting a light in the sky so that you can see more and more damage. And so stay with us this morning. This is our story. This is the biggest story we've had in a long time. I have in my 10 years of working here, I've not tracked storms that continued to cause issues through the night and into our morning show. There's usually a break and we are done and we are breathing and we can kind of look at the cleanup. We still have severe thunderstorm warnings here at 5:32 this morning. So I want to make sure and focus in on that. Adams County seeing our only severe thunderstorm warning, but a little part of the county has been added. So we have this first warning that goes until 6 a.m. and then noting that little bit of a polygon that has been clipped here, that goes until 6:45. So there's actually two separate warnings that are ongoing for Adams County. I also want to note that I'm picking up on maybe a little bit of rotation. Now, the biggest worry from this line that has been advancing into Adams County has been winds at 70, 80 miles per hour. That is straight line winds that can be just as destructive, or in some instances worse, because it can affect more people than, say, singular homes. It can affect tree lines. It can affect neighborhoods. And so that is still the concern with this line that is advancing to the east. Actually, yeah, so they've stayed with that. Okay, I just wanted to see if they were extending that is time-wise, but I caught that other warning. So let me show you the wind that I was saying. I'm seeing a little bit of rotation here. I am watching what is some potential rotation that is almost out of the viewing area, but here, that very southern tip from Squirreltown towards Vanceburg towards Nile. That is where we have some of the strongest wind at this time. So again, Squirreltown, Vanceburg, Garrison shifting to the east. Pink, this is just outside of you, but that is where we have some of the strongest winds and even a little bit of rotation that is showing up. So northern sections of the county where you're in that secondary severe thunderstorm warning that was added. So Rorton, you have that just outside of home, outside of Peebles under that severe thunderstorm warning. I think actually the strongest winds, as I'm covering them up, are east in Sunfish, but they actually had a potential tornado towards Pike County that we were watching way earlier in the morning. So this is an area that is getting hit again, which is also something very rare. Typically an atmosphere gets robbed of the needed ingredients, but this morning this one is just not giving up. So let me back out, kind of show you what's going on, kind of give you an update. If you're just waking up this morning, we have been on almost through the night. Since about 12:30, I think 12:40 or so, we were certainly on the air. Actually, it was 11:40. It was 11:40 that this all began. I got in at about 12:30, 12:40 ahead of that severe weather out of Boone County. It was a dangerous situation on the roads, and I would never advise anyone to do that. But I know what I'm looking at, so I knew that I was going to be okay, but it was scary. It was definitely a scary situation. There are no scary situations to report on at this time. Let me turn on base reflective radar for you so that you can actually see some of the heaviest rain now moving out of Adams County as well. So that's a good sign. Really, the strongest push for strong to severe storms is well outside of the viewing area now. Louisville's tracking east towards Lexington and towards Moorhead. So we were worried that that line was going to get stuck on us, but it has continued to advance east, that energy pulling it away from home. So we're very happy to see that, because where we saw the severe weather earlier did not do the same, which is why we have
and we're watching the storm coming
all of
through.
these flash
flood we started hearing
warnings.
the loud trains.
So let's go through the timing just to let you know as long as they're going to be extended, and Jen's going to let you know what it means for driving. So flash flood warning that goes for Ripley and Dearborn until 7:15. northern sections of Boone County, and we've got Hamilton, Kenton, Campbell, all dealing with their flash flood warning until 6 a.m. We'll see if that's been extended. And then east, still dealing with some additional rain. You have Claremont and Brown, that's until 7 a.m. And then farther east, clipping what is Highland and Brown and Adams County, you've got that until 6 a.m. as well. I could see that one definitely being extended. And then just outside of there of Owenton, also with some flash flood warnings surrounding us. So it looks like I just got a message that we have lost maybe some tornado watches. Let me see here. I just got something in, so I don't want to miss telling you that latest information. We get it from everywhere, so I just want to make sure. Okay, so tornado watch has been trimmed back. Let me get to that graphic so I can show you. This is supposed to go until 11 a.m. It's going to say p.m. on there. So wow, we've lost a lot of this. So this is a very good sign, guys. We are coming to the end of this. Now it's the cleanup. So we still have a tornado watch in effect until 11 a.m. It should say a.m. here. That goes for Adams County. I'm going to switch that right now since I actually have a second. But we have lost the watch everywhere else. This was extended by the National Weather Service, and we were asking Ann and I why, because it looks like this event is ending, and they officially confirmed that yes, thankfully this event is ending. So like you see Jen sometimes change things live on the air, we got to change that to an A so that you know what's going on, because this has gone through the night, obviously, and into the morning hours. So we just have that additional tornado watch over Adams County, and again, severe thunderstorm warning in effect for what could be just a few more minutes, and then we're going to be losing that out of Adams County. It ends at 6 a.m. and again 5:45. So for now, we want to check back in with Bob and Jen and talk about what you guys are finding street level.
Okay, I know we're working on getting a viewer to touch base with us from VV, Indiana, because I know they've gone through some difficult things in Switzerland County. Let's take that shot of tower cam, though, that you mentioned upstairs, Rory. As you can see, it's interesting, because Tara, you just said we're starting to come out of it, and boy, this shot from our tower cam suggests that, I guess, that we're starting to get to the other side of what has been a very, very long, difficult night for a lot of folks. Again, I hope you're all safe. I hope you're all dry. As that sun starts to brighten things up a bit, we will, of course, get a better look at damage, and it is pretty extensive and pretty widespread through different parts of the tri-state. Christian Hauser is down in Florence. Sydney Hawkins is over in Aurora. Tara, do you have something over there?
Let me just show you a graphic really quick with the storm reports. We are going to get a lot more of these in, but more heavily concentrated around the city for flooding and around Florence for damage to homes and structures and power lines. So this is some of the storm reports that we have. We do have it back towards VV, Versailles, especially here Ripley County. Franklin County was hit very hard, as we were hearing there. And so this is just kind of the storm reports at this point. Less to the east, less to the southeast, but this is where some of the worst of the damage is. And so again, we're going to continue to scan throughout the tri-state and find some of this, but I just wanted to note this just so you know areas that if you're waking up and you're trying to go to work and you've got places to be and kids going to camp, it may not be happening because of the amount of damage that we found. So again, flooding reports here noted here towards the city. And then down towards Florence, that is where we had more structural damage. Same story for us in Ripley County, Franklin County, both flooding and structural damage, and potential for structural damage down towards VV there in Carroll County. And then we see a little bit into Grant as well. So this is something we're going to be working on. We cannot confirm tornadoes. That's something that the National Weather Service does, but I just wanted to make note of kind of the worst of it. A lot of us saw the activity, but this was the worst of it, and so you really, really have to be cautious in these areas because of the damage and the ongoing flooding. So sorry, Bob, back to you.
No, all good. We did manage to reach out to our friend down in VV, Indiana. Angie Priest is on the horn with us in that part of the viewing area. And Angie, God bless you for getting up and spending some time this morning. I said, hey, I know Switzerland County probably just got nailed. Get Angie on the horn. So how are we doing down there?
Well, I'm out of the basement, which is a bit tidier than it was earlier today. Switzerland County saw a lot of wind. We had a couple of warnings throughout the night. I'm standing just a block from my house. I don't know if you can see how massive this tree is. It went down and it literally brushed the side of this house next to me. Oof. Out in the Patton Hollow area, they had some trees down. One is on a house. There are crews on the scene. And throughout the county, there is a lot of trees and wind damage, but nothing catastrophic that I've heard as of yet. I do know southwest of us, Hanover and Madison have been hit pretty significantly. My daughter lives down that way, and my son was working in Hebron and got home to Ellesmere. There was, again, the damage up in that area. But in Switzerland County, it's just driving with caution because of downed trees and limbs, and a few places that have had some trees onto houses, but nothing catastrophic here that I've heard.
Are both your kids, everybody's okay, Angie?
Everyone is okay. My dog, 120 pounds of terror when it comes to storms, is not so good, but he hung out in the basement. But everyone that I am aware of is okay at this point in time. Okay,
Angie, I appreciate you so much getting up this morning, because I knew it was going to take us a while to get out to that area, and I thought, hey, we know somebody down there. So thanks for taking some time today.
Hey, always happy to help out.
Appreciate you. Stay dry, stay safe, all right?
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Angie. Jen, let's talk about roads for a second here, because I know there's just a lot going on, and we're going to find out even more as the sun continues to come up.
Oh boy, yeah, and high water and crashes, and now a mudslide. We have a report of a mudslide on Bender Road near US 50. You know that area well, right?
I know it well.
So if you're coming down Bender, is it, I mean,
it's right down from Mount St. Joe as you come down the hill.
Coming down Mount St. Joe, Bender Road near US 50, and it looks like we're starting to see a little bit of slow traffic on US 50 near that area, maybe some high water or debris on US 50.
I had somebody post on Facebook at that section of 50 as you come through, there was some very high water. Now, I don't know if it's still that way, but I know earlier it sounds like it was.
I believe we're sending a videographer out to that area of Bender near US 50, so as soon as we get some video or confirmation of that, but you may want to avoid Bender Road near US 50 this morning in that area. Also, a reminder, let's see, have they changed the camera angle on me? There we go, turn it back so I can see. Thank you, ODOT. 75 northbound lanes crossing the Brent Spence Bridge from Kentucky into Ohio are currently blocked. Traffic from Kentucky going into Ohio is being forced off onto 71 Fort Washington Way, US 50 there. You could also exit off to 2nd Street in that area, but you cannot continue northbound 75 into Ohio off the Brent Spence Bridge. 471 is an option for you this morning, one of the other bridges if you're going to continue 75 or you need to go to 75. You can also detour through downtown, but there's a closer look at that. You can see in the distance that the officers are blocking those lanes going northbound 75 from Kentucky into Ohio and forcing everybody off on 71. The other closure this morning, the ramp from southbound 75 in Ohio to the Norwood Lateral, that's 562 eastbound going towards 71. That ramp is closed. You can see those poor folks have been sitting there now for about 45 minutes. I'm told it's for high water on the Norwood Lateral right there. So those are our two big closures. The sky looks pretty this morning as things are kind of breaking, but that ramp southbound 75 to the Norwood Lateral eastbound shut down. We also have had reports of some slow traffic and a crash on 275's ramp to 74 in Whitewater Township. And taking a look elsewhere, again, we're kind of getting a break in our metro area. So I'm not seeing other major interstate problems right now, but as people get up and at them, we're going to hear reports of high water, branches down, that type of thing. So what do we want to do next, Maine? We want to go to Storyteller? Tara, we're going to go back to Tara.
Yes, let's head on over to me. I've got good news, guys. We're officially here 5:45 and no severe thunderstorm warnings in the tri-state. We are not expecting any additional severe weather for today. Now, we still have some heavy rain in Adams County, but no longer seeing any sort of severe weather. That is all just outside of the viewing area. So Peebles still dealing with some heavier rain, some lightning flashes for us here as well, and flooding concerns remain high because of all of the rain that we had through the night. I could easily see some spots at 5 to 6 inches. So that is really kind of where our focal point will go. Severe weather is still ongoing south of home towards Louisville and Lexington. So you may even be seeing that off in the distance, but but again, no severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornado warnings here in the tri-state. But let me show you, now that we've here gotten to 5:45, we've lost some of our flash flood warnings. And so I want to let you know some of the numbers for how long you can expect to still be dealing with issues on area roadways because of high water. So flash flood warning continues until 7:15 now for Dearborn and Ripley. We have lost our flash flood warning for the city because we've been allowed to dry out a little bit, allow that water to recede. So that's very good to see. As we head east, though, we still have a flash flood warning for Brown and Claremont counties. Southern sections of these counties still dealing with rain, but it's actually the northern part of the county that was hit earlier. That's where we have our flash flood warnings towards Owensville there. That is going to be ending at 7 a.m. And then for us east, we have Highland and a bit of Brown and northern sections of Adams County. You have your flood warning that goes until 6 a.m. We'll see if that's been extended because there's still ongoing rain. So at this very moment, we still have, unless they've taken it away and I didn't get an alert just yet, a tornado watch box still in place on Adams County, but that is going to be ending. This is not going to be continuing. There is no additional severe weather predicted. And I brought this up just a few minutes ago, but we've had a lot of damage, and I'm expecting as we progress throughout this morning, as the National Weather Service continues to scan, they're going to be sending crews out. There's a lot of places that they're going to survey, so we're probably going to be a few days before we know the magnitude of this event. But we have been here through the night tracking these severe storms, and so some of the biggest issues for us around the city, you're seeing the house with the water. There's been a lot of flooding, but we've lost our flash flood warnings. We've already made some improvements there. Then here towards Florence especially, you see the house. That is where we've had a lot of severe thunderstorm and tornadic wind damage. So we are going to continue to get additional information in on that. And then Aurora was heavily impacted by flooding and potential tornado, or at least damaging winds. Same story for us back here into Ripley. Some of us farther south that got hit with that secondary line, we found that from Carroll County down into Grant County and then pushing east, Robertson and Mason County were impacted by some of the damaging winds. Actually, let me click in. That's a new one, and I want to see what is being reported there. So in Fairview, closest city would be Ewing. A tree was reported to have blown down onto Ewing Road in Fairview community. It was about 4:52. So still dealing with more and more information coming in, with everyone just scanning the area, letting us know what they're finding. But flash flood at 3, flood 6, thunderstorm, wind damage 17. So there was just a lot that happened through the overnight hours. And so if you didn't see much at your house, you got very lucky, but you could still, as you head off to work, get the kids to camp, be dealing with a lot more in the way of concerns. But I'm happy to report that the strong line of showers and thunderstorms that resulted in multiple tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings is continuing to push out and away from the tri-state. But I want to check in with Sydney. She is in Aurora this morning. She's seen a good bit of damage. What are you finding right now, Sydney?
Yeah, Tara, we are still on Cole Lane and East Lowry Creek Road. You can still see that power line we've been talking about all morning, still in the street here. The last time you checked in with us, Aurora Fire Department on the ground, they said there was nothing more they could do here. So now you see that truck, that's Duke Energy, just assessing that power line that has caused this intersection, this road, to remain closed for at least 3 hours now. So Duke Energy here assessing that power line, a lot of debris in the road as well. Also checking in on Duke Energy power outage in Southeast Indiana. About 160 customers, homes and businesses in this Dearborn County area are without power right now, and it's about 49 in Switzerland County, VV specifically. So this is what we're seeing right now as of 5:50. We know a lot of damage happened overnight. Our Chris Arnold was here last night This home to the left of me that you see, they have extensive damage that I hope to show you when the sun rises. Roof is completely off, their back shed, a garage door completely torn off. So this is just what we're seeing in this area. Again, Aurora Fire Department, Dearborn County Emergency Management on the ground surveying the damage across this entire area. At the last check, we were told that one person was injured in the county, in Dearborn County, due to the storms we saw overnight. They said that person declined treatment, so they are expected to be okay. We are working to learn. I just reached out to someone with Dearborn County Emergency Management to see if there is an update. That last update came about an hour ago, so hopefully there aren't many injuries to report, but again, I hope to have an update on that when you all check in with me again. I believe I'm sending it back to Bob and Jen now for another update.
All right, Sydney, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Jen is over at the traffic computer right now, kind of inputting the latest data. We've had interstate shutdown. We've had reports of high water all over the tri-state, not just in one specific area. So, Jen, what's the latest that you're seeing interstate-wise? Do we have any closures anywhere? What's going on?
We have 2 closures I want to let you know about and one additional crash. And this is just the major interstates. I'm sure we're going to hear about more issues. But quickly, I want to remind folks that right now, ODOT has all lanes going northbound 75 off the Brent Spence Bridge closed. So that would be if you're coming from Kentucky, going northbound, and you wanted to continue on 75 into Ohio, you're being detoured right now forced off onto 71 or US 50 or 2nd Street. But you cannot continue the lanes that go northbound 75 off the Brent Spence Bridge from Kentucky into Ohio, and I'm told it's because of high water. And if you think about it, when you come right off the Brent Spence Bridge, it kind of dips down a little bit into Ohio, so I bet some water has collected there. So I wanted to, let's go back here. Come on, computer. I wanted to give you a look at the backup. We are now seeing a backup of close to Kyle's Lane, and it's taking about 20, I would give it at least 20, 25 minutes if you're going to go that way. And again, reminder, you'll be forced off onto 71 Fort Washington Way. We also have the ramp from southbound 75 in Ohio to the Norwood Lateral eastbound. That's 562 eastbound closed. Those poor people have been sitting on that ramp now for about an hour. And I'm told again, it's because of high water right on the Norwood Lateral after you take that ramp from 75 southbound onto the eastbound Norwood Lateral. Sky's pretty, but people are not thinking about that as they're sitting in that back up there. And again, they've been sitting there for an hour. We also just finally got confirmation that there is a crash on the ramp from 275 northbound in Whitewater Township to 74 westbound. That's the cause of the slow traffic in that area. ODOT finally reported that. So those are our major issues right now. We still could see high water on the roads. And Tara, do we need to get to you? No. You keep going. Okay, keep going, she said. So just a reminder that we're starting to see power outages, or we're not starting to. We have about 10,000 without power around the area. We'll talk more about that coming up. Luckily, right now, other interstates, I've not had any other major problems. It seems like it's been 75 from the Brent Spence Bridge up to about the Norwood Lateral, where we've had the interstate closed a couple times for high water. We've got those ramps closed. So we'll keep an eye on things for you. And
so much of that water just came in a rush. That's
you
sort
and
of
I
what
drove
happened.
in.
Yeah, right at a
right
time.
At about 3:30.
And then it sort of has gone away.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking about now is people who are walking down to their basement for the first time this morning.
Well, like I said, I walked down to my
ankle
garage.
Deep in water.
I wasn't ankle deep, but it was in my garage,
Right.
and I had to clean out a drain before I came in just to make sure, hopefully it's not gotten into the basement. But yeah, people are going to see a lot of that type of stuff. And as more people get up and at them, we're going to hear more branches down, trees down,
right.
That type of thing. We've got a lot of power outages, so it's a good time to remind people that and I can show some of the power outages. Let's see, I get down there.
We might even have them. There we go, Jen. We got it.
Oh, you got them on there.
Yep.
Okay, I was going to put it on my traffic map, but we still have about 10,000 without power.
And if you look down in that Florence area where Christian Hauser
there's
is,
a lot near Florence.
That's the spot where we're seeing the greatest number of people with power outage, right around 4,000. And then if you go to the just west of 75, up near 74, where we've had all the issues on I-75, you've got a couple thousand people.
East of Batavia
there.
Has had quite a few.
Yeah, out toward Williamsburg, looks like a rough spot as well. So,
so remember that to treat, you're going to come across some traffic signals malfunctioning, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Treat those like a four-way stop. Make sure you're not blowing through those. just a lot going on out there this morning.
Yeah, and again, we had Tara was in probably by 11 o'clock or midnight last night. She's been here, and Campolongo stayed through the night while we had all those warnings on the board. But I think the good news right now, Tara, are all of the warnings off the board at this point?
So no severe thunderstorm warnings.
Okay.
Obviously no tornado warnings, but we still have a lot of flash flood warnings.
Okay.
Because of the extreme rain that hit overnight, and we had rain kind of get stuck in a swath that came through Ripley, Dearborn, the city, progressed east through Claremont, Brown, clipping Highland, clipping Warren, and Clinton counties as well. So this is a progression of the last 6 hours. You can see kind of got stuck and then eventually finally found that energy to shift farther south. So typically when you have a severe weather event, it advances in from the northwest and shifts to the southeast, and we're done. Well, it kind of got stuck, which is why the flooding is now, and the cleanup obviously is our biggest concern. But yes, I'm very happy to report I'll stop the progression, and you can see all the severe thunderstorm warnings are outside of our viewing area. So you are officially fully clear in Adams County. We are no longer expecting any sort of tornadic activity here this morning. There is still, I was just looking, I haven't forecasted it all today because we've been doing severe weather. So I was just looking at maybe a little bit of a chance for some showers and storms even this afternoon, but that should be limited as we still have a cold front back to the west of us. But I do want to go through some of the additional warnings that are still in place for flash flooding again. That is for flash flooding. It is not for any ongoing severe weather. So here we are with a flash flood warning for Ripley and Dearborn. Again, that goes until 7:15. The one for the city and northern sections of Boone, Kenton, and Campbell has been allowed to expire. And then to the east, we're still looking at what is Brown and Claremont County. That goes until 8:30. So that has been extended. And then it looks like the additional flood warnings to the east have been allowed to expire over Highland, Brown, and Adams County. So definitely finding some improvements already. The majority of the extremes, obviously south. I was hoping to see how much rain we got, but it just doesn't look as impressive as I would have expected. But it's that heavy swath that you're seeing here where I'm still talking about ongoing flash flood warnings. Guys, if we're starting into the 6 a.m. and you need me to do something different, just let me know. But I'm just going to go through some information here where I can get some of the estimates on how much rain we received. And I found when I got in early, upwards of 4 to 5. So it's been a lot. There's 6 inches, northern sections of Brown County for you right there. These are radar estimates, but that's a lot. 6 inches also found in Claremont County. For us towards the city and northern sections of Boone County, upwards of 5 inches of rain. Here in Dearborn, 5.5. So this swath was very impactful in the amount of rain that was found. 5 there towards Highland County. So a lot less of rain in numbers farther south and to the north, but some spots still picked up 1 to 2 inches to the north as well. So waking up this morning, it is not just going to be that, severe weather's done and the day is going to go on. We just had so many different severe thunderstorm reports and tornado winds that heavily impacted the tri-state. So I'm looking at some additional issues definitely for us here in Hamilton County, Boone County, stretching into Kenton County. You can see all the different plots here of where we'd had different reports. If I click in here, I can show you some of them and how they are indicated in the way of damage. If I can get it to pull up. We've been pushing this system real hard through the nights. It is tired. So look how long that is. Florence, thunderstorm wind damage, multiple trees down along with several tree limbs. Definitely expecting that was a tornado. That happened at about 12:40. That was right as I was making my way out of Florence. Definitely some really scary driving conditions there. But we have what is a much better situation now, guys, and I'm happy to report that. But we've got different crews out trying to make sure that we are going to be okay and you're going to be okay when it comes to the roads and some of the damage that you're going to have to work around. So stay with us here into the 6th, 7th, 8 o'clock hour, 9 o'clock hour as we find more and more out for you and we report it live on the air. We'll be back in just minutes.
Breaking news alerts and the Weather Authority forecast. This is Good Morning Cincinnati, live on Local 12.
As thousands of families wake up across the tri-state this morning, roads have been closed. Street lights are out and many buildings are damaged after strong winds and severe storms slammed the tri-state.
And good morning, everyone. We are in weather impact mode after severe storms move through overnight.
Yeah, the immediate concerns right now are power outages, downed trees, flooded roads. Last night's storms have disrupted 911 service, by the way, in Boone County. 911 calls are currently being routed to Kenton County 911 dispatch. Callers are still being connected with emergency services. The county's non-emergency line is completely down.
So we have live team coverage tracking all of the things that are happening around the tri-state. And that's the thing, Tara Blake. This was not an isolated spot where this weather system hit. It was widespread, and there are effects whether you're in Indiana, you're here in Ohio, or you're out in Kentucky further south. There's a spot that probably got hit near you.
Absolutely. And I think we're going to be finding out so much more in the way of damage that was found. We still have a flood watch out because we are now just dealing with the aftermath of all of the rain. But I'm happy to report here at 6 o'clock hour, we do not have any severe thunderstorm warnings nor tornado warnings, and no additional warnings in that nature are expected. We still have some ongoing rain for our easternmost locations. So you're still dealing with some rain over Brown County, Highland, and into Adams County, but it's rather light. The heaviest is well outside of home. So happy to report that. Unfortunately, normally I would just be talking to you, but I haven't had time to set up my weather shows. So you're gonna see me kind of driving around here for a second. So again, light rain over Georgetown, some heavier pockets still possible in Peebles, Maysville with some additional rain. Same story for us in Bracken and in Robertson counties, but the heaviest is just outside of home where they're dealing with some severe thunderstorm warnings and severe weather. Now, because of the overnight rain, we are still noting flash flood warnings. So this is because of too much water at one time, flooding our roadways and filling up our waterways. This is going to get better with time here this morning, but a flash flood warning continues until 7:15 for Ripley and Dearborn. No longer talking a warning here into the city, but we do have a flash flood warning for Brown and Clermont until 8:30. And then also noting in the brighter green, that would be a flood advisory for some of those northern counties. So for today, we are not officially done with potentially seeing rain. I don't think we're going to see anything in the way of severe weather, most likely. It would be a very small chance, but we still have an opportunity for a few showers, a few thunderstorms to happen even into the afternoon hours, but it's limited. As we see a high today, winds are also going to be on the stronger side. I'm going to talk through Futurecast and your 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes, but as weather calms down, traffic becomes our focus. And obviously the cleanup and the severe weather and what kind of damage we have here in the tri-state. So I want to check in with Jen. She's been working with me trying to find some of those spots that are still concerning, even though the rain has drastically decreased. Jen, what are you seeing?
Yeah, we're starting to see things like debris on the roads causing closures. I now have a new report that ODOT just set in that US 50 is closed in both directions at Meadowlark Lane due to tree debris on the roadway. So US 50 closed in both directions at Meadowlark. That's on the east side of town. US 50 again closed both directions at Meadowlark. Just threw that up on the map. I'll try to get that mapped out for you a little bit better, but that just popped up for me. But we've had some major interstate issues as well. All lanes of 75 northbound coming off the Brent Spence Bridge remain closed because of high water on the Ohio side of the Brent Spence. So you can still go across the Brent Spence Bridge, but you just can't continue northbound 75. You're going to be forced off onto 71 US 50 in that area. We also are seeing a pretty big backup in that spot because obviously people are trying to figure out what to do as they're diverted off onto 71 US 50. So I would recommend possibly using 471 if you're heading into Ohio, but I don't believe that you can. I'm going to check and see if they have the ramp from Fort Washington Way onto 75 northbound open. So maybe you could come 471 and wrap across that way, but I need to confirm that first. But I do know that the lanes northbound 71 coming off the Brent Spence are those are still closed. But it looks like this ramp just reopened. I'm going to watch and see if yep, okay, so this ramp just reopened. The ramp from southbound 75 to the Norwood Lateral 562 eastbound had been closed. That looks like they just cleared that. Again, that was for high water. And then we have an issue where we're seeing slow traffic on 275 northbound in Whitewater Township. That's the ramp to 74 westbound. Other areas looking okay. There's one more spot where I don't know where it went there. We're out on the west side, Bob. Bender Road has a report of US 50 right near Bender Road. There it is. A report of a mudslide on Bender Road near US 50. And we've had reports of high water from some viewers on River Road right at Anderson Ferry as well. So I think we're sending a videographer out that way. We'll let you know if we get some video back.
Yeah, it sounds like anywhere along 50 there coming into town is going to be rough. And as the sun comes up, we're all grateful, I think, to see the sun, but we're also getting a much clearer look at the damage left behind after that severe weather moved through the tri-state. Take a look, water just shooting up out of a manhole. This was near Ludlow Avenue. I saw the same thing on Queen City Avenue. Jen, I think, saw it on Highland coming up the hill. Our crews tracking the hardest hit areas. Sydney Hawkins is live in Dearborn County. She's out in Aurora, where we know at least one person was injured out that way and plenty of damage as well. Sydney, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Bob. Just checking to see if I've had any updates since the last check-in. Still waiting to hear from Dearborn County Emergency Management, who has been out surveying this entire county. As you said, as the sun comes up, we are starting to see more of this damage. We are following a power line that's down where I am right now, Cole Lane, East Lowry Creek Road. And you can see a power line down here in this person's front yard area. This is where our Chris Arnold was all last night. Look at that roof completely torn off, that garage door completely off. This is just a little bit of the damage that we are seeing in Dearborn County, Aurora right now. So about an hour ago when you checked in with us, Aurora Fire Department was here surveying this damage. They left. They said it was nothing else they can do. So Duke Energy now on the ground here surveying that power line. Take a look at that tree. You can see just how split it was due to the storms that we saw overnight. You can see another one here to the left and a lot of limbs and debris all in this street. Again, this is Aurora, Cole Lane, East Lowry Creek Road. So crews have been here. We've been here for about 2 hours now. Crews have been here longer than that, surveying this damage. Again, we know one person was injured in the county from storms overnight. Dearborn County Emergency Management said that person declined treatment, so that person is expected to be okay. Working to learn if more people, if they are seeing any more injuries across the area. I've also been working to see if this is the only area in the county that's seeing this type of damage, looking online, reaching out to people to see what we're seeing across Aurora and more of Southeast Indiana. There are also some power outages here from the Duke Energy outage map. I believe about 150 in Dearborn County and about 50 in Switzerland County in VV. So this is what we're seeing again right now in Southeast Indiana. I want to take things over to Northern Kentucky, where our Christian Hauser has been hanging out in Boone County. Christian, what are you seeing?
Well, Sydney, we've seen lots of debris strewn about on the roads as people make their way around here. Now, we've actually moved to a new spot from where we've been most of the morning. We're now in front of the Florence Y'all Water Tower. About an hour ago, water was spewing out of that area behind me here. Now, that's because the power is knocked out in this area due to the storms, and that shut down a pump inside. Now, because of that, water was flowing out of this outlet pipe into the area. The good news is there's no damage to the water tower, and a worker was able to get that valve shut off, and the water, as you can see, is no longer spewing out. However, there have been plenty of businesses that have had their roofs damaged or even partially torn off, including the Bob's Carpet over on Dream Street. Now, bits and pieces of it landed across the street in the parking lot of the Roadway Inn. Guests there had to hunker down as the worst of the storm came through. Now, one person I spoke with was actually recording a video of the rain and the strong winds when a power transformer blew right outside of his room, giving him quite a scare. I want to show you what Christopher Hutchins, a guest there, said the storm was like as it rolled through the area.
We heard the train sound coming through, like the wind, heavy wind. We heard it coming through, and I told my roommate to go in the bathroom and make sure she stayed in until everything was cleared, because I was trying to make sure everything was going to stay close enough before I could run in there. But it only came through for like 3 or 4 minutes, and it was gone. And that's when we all came out. I mean, you'll see everybody out there standing out right now.
Now, as we've been driving around, we have seen a few power poles snapped on Industrial Road near 42. Luckily, though, there is some light in the sky that's starting to illuminate things here, so it's not pitch black like it was about an hour ago. But I will say, with just the combination of a little bit of the sun just rising and the clouds still working their way through the area, it's almost kind of an eeriness to the area. It'll be interesting to see what everything looks like when the sun is fully up, though. We've also seen Florence police running around as they try to respond to damage and other calls for service for debris in the road. But like you heard just a few minutes ago, the 911 system here in Boone County is down. You're told only to call 911 if it's a very serious emergency. And those calls, they are being directed over into Kenton County next door. And then they're working to work with the police and the sheriff's office in Boone County to make sure that those officers and deputies get to service calls as quickly as they can. For now, live at the Florence Y'all Water Tower, I'm Christian Hauser.
All right, Christian, thank you. Appreciate you coming in this morning. As we keep an eye on damage from severe storms, here's a look at Queen City Avenue. This is around 3:30 this morning as I was driving in. I've never seen it like this before in this section of Queen City. This is just before you get to the UDF, so just past sunset. If you come down that hill a lot, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Look at that water shooting up out of the sewers. We have thousands of people without power, several roads shut down because of debris and other problems, high water. As you step out of the house this morning, please be extremely careful. We do have the Duke Energy outage map up here behind me in our storyteller monitor right now. And you can see as we look, you've got over 11,000 people without power. And though things are pretty widespread on the board, there are specific areas that seem to be a little worse off than others. Down right around that area where Christian was just moments ago by the Florence Y'all Water Tower. You can see 4,000 out in that area. You get in that spot where Jen was talking about as you get just a little bit to the west of I-75 as you're pushing up from the river to 74. You got a couple thousand out there. If you go out east on 32, get out east of Batavia, head out toward Williamsburg Way, you got a couple thousand people out there. So still plenty of people without power. If you are waking up in the dark this morning and still are somehow able to watch us because you pulled up the phone, again, you are certainly not alone. It was a loud and dangerous night across the greater Cincinnati area. Duke Energy crews, they are working overdrive to try to get all the lights back on. But again, that's the situation behind us right now. We'll keep an eye on that power outage map for you. Jen, I'll kick it over to you now.
All right, well, we have a live look now out near Harrison or West Harrison, Indiana. You can see at least 2 homes that are very badly damaged in that area. I don't know if we have any confirmation of what happened out there, but we will bring that to you from meteorologist Tara Blake of the National Weather Service as soon as we get it. But you can see the roofs are off in portions there. We will, again, bring you more information on that as we get it out there. If you feel safe this morning, you can share any photos or video of weather damage by uploading those to local12.com/chime-in. We don't want you to put yourself in any kind of dangerous situation to do that. But don't forget to check on loved ones as you wake up this morning. Some areas were hit harder than others, and we're only just getting an idea of the damage as the sun rises.
Certainly more to come, more to come, especially with what's happening on the roads.
Yes.
Because you've got more and more people getting out there right now trying to head to work, and all of a sudden those alerts are going to start rushing
And
in.
here's a big one that I just mentioned earlier, but I didn't have it completely mapped up. Just quickly, US 50 is shut down in both directions, right between Red Bank and Meadowlark, I think they said.
That's a really
Meadowlark,
busy
so that's
spot.
right in Fairfax, right near Fairfax and before you get to Miramont. That's a very busy spot that a lot of people use, but they say both directions, so I think we're sending somebody out there.
It's funny, we've got a section of 50 on the east side where it's a mess, and we've got a section on the west side where it's a mess there between Bender and Anderson Ferry. So a lot to keep in mind.
We are sending somebody,
We do have somebody headed that way. Okay, we're going to catch our breath here for a second, take a very quick break. We'll be back with another look at the forecast from Tara Blake, any updates that we need to let you know about. So we see a little bit of sun this morning, but with that sun comes all the damage left behind.
Good morning. I'm Local 12 News meteorologist Tara Blake. We had a lot of severe weather through the overnight hours, but here in the 6 o'clock hour, we have no severe weather in the way of severe thunderstorm warnings or tornadic activity in place. All of that is well outside of home, as you can see it pushing well in through Louisville and Lexington at this point. And there's also severe weather just outside of us. Now, I will note that because of the heavy rain through the night and the potential tornadoes and wind damage, you're going to be struggling for driving this morning in quite a few spots. So I want to take a little bit of a tour here, show you what's going on in the way of still some warnings because of high water. So a flash flood warning is ongoing here through Ripley and Dearborn County. That goes until 7:15 this morning. So please be very, very careful. If you can, avoid the roads until we can get that water receding a bit. There's also a flash flood warning still in place for Brown and Claremont counties. That goes until 8:30 this morning, so that had been extended a little bit. I know we've got some flood advisories all across home, but just some additional light rain to report on at this moment, and that is exiting out in a way too. But southern sections of Highland County, we've got Brown County, Adams County. Adams County, you held on to the last little bit of severe weather, and as you can see, it is now prompting tornado warnings outside of the viewing area, well outside of the viewing area. But thankfully, our severe risk has officially been turned off for this morning. We still have a chance for some additional rain, maybe a few thunderstorms this afternoon. There's a very small risk for severe weather far south and east. Still getting that forecast together for you. Want to make sure and show you that 7-day to let you know as the rain and storms are back as we move into the weekend as well. But weather at this point has quieted considerably, and we're hoping to see more in the way of damage that's been found here in the tri-state. The National Weather Service will be out surveying. They're getting their crews together. It's going to be a long day, maybe a few days before we officially know how many different locations were hit and how many tornadoes we did indeed have here in the tri-state. But I know we had a debris signature and officially a tornado that was in Florence in Boone County. But again, we have no information from the National Weather Service just yet. We now go from a non-severe weather event to still severe issues on our roads. So I want to check in with Jen and get the latest from her as many are waking up and hoping to head into work soon. Jen?
Yeah, and we have a couple major problems for you this morning, not only on the interstate, but on some of our secondary roads too, our major roads like US 50 on both sides of town, east side and west side. We've got some issues. US 50 is closed in both directions, according to ODOT, at Meadowlark. That is just in the Fairfax area, just to the east of Red Bank. So US 50 closed. Wooster Pike, US 50, Columbia Parkway, however you want to call it, closed at Meadowlark between Red Bank and Meadowlark in both directions. So that's going to cause some major headaches for folks who use US 50 this morning. We're sending a videographer out there and we'll show you what's going on. They say a tree partially blocking the road. We still have a report that all lanes of northbound 75 are shut down heading into Ohio off the Brent Spence Bridge. You can see that traffic is being diverted off onto 71 US 50, but you just can't continue from Kentucky into Ohio using the lanes of 75 northbound, and that obviously is causing a major backup into the area. And then on the other side of town, the west side, report of a mudslide on Bender near US 50, and we've had some reports of high water on River Road near Anderson Ferry.
Lots to watch. Well, more than 100 million Americans are facing active weather threats and advisories today across the country. Tornadoes tore through the Midwest, triggering a trail of damage and warnings, one slamming into Illinois, lifting chunks off a building there. Meantime, Tropical Storm Arthur is still dumping heavy rain and threatening communities with dangerous flooding. Right now, residents in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama are all preparing for flooding as well. And obviously, we still have a lot of issues that we are dealing with here that we're just starting to get a feel for as the sun really comes up and illuminates things a bit.
Speaking of which, can I just mention another thing that just popped up? This is for West Side folks, too. Or folks heading to the west side, US 50 westbound. So they now have that ramp closed as well, going the 6th Street
As you come off of 50, or as you come off 75?
75, yeah.
Okay, so
like,
off the Brent Spence Bridge.
Not just the Brent Spence, but going from Fort Washington way
So
as
you
well.
can only go, like if you're coming northbound from Northern Kentucky, you come across the bridge. So at this point, you can kind of only go Fort Washington way.
Yes.
You cannot
Yeah.
You cannot get
go
off
westbound
onto
on the
River
6th Street.
Road and head out that
River
way.
Road, yeah.
Out 6th Street Viaduct.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
All
for
right.
high water.
Yeah, and once if you were out further on 50 to the west, We've had high water reported near
As I mentioned,
Anderson
yeah.
Ferry and Bender. And then on the east side, where was it again?
It's on US 50, just east of Red Bank,
Red
near
Bank,
Meadowlark is the street.
Meadowlark.
It's in Fairfax, where that is completely shut down. Apparently a tree. Must be a big tree if it's across both directions of US 50.
Right. And it's a lot to deal with because it's over such a widespread area. Right. We've got Sydney Hawkins out in Aurora. We've got Christian Hauser down in Florence. By the way, I will note this because Christian has taken the time to check on this. I want to assure everyone there's no huge leak from the Florence Y'all water tower. The reason I bring that up is that was spreading over social media overnight, that was the case. That is not the case. They did have to release a little bit of runoff, and I don't know if that was confusing to people, but last time we checked in with Christian, he was literally at the Florence Y'all water tower.
Yeah, it's not damaged.
There's nothing to worry about there. So that's a very good thing. Tara Blake has been in since probably 11 o'clock last night, midnight. Ann Campolongo was in with her in the overnight hours, keeping you safe with all the warnings. And she's, I think, got the very latest. It's tough to forecast ahead when you're dealing with the right now, which is what you've been doing.
Can we bring you anything? Do you need a tea or coffee? There's some pie out there. I can bring you some pie.
No, pie sounds great. No, I'm having my chicken apple sausage in between these hits, trying to eat something. I was a little shaky. I hadn't eaten since yesterday at about 2. Yeah, it was a long night, but I can smile because we are done. We are done with the extremes. We are just dealing with some additional light rain, the severe weather pushing well outside of the viewing area, though still causing some major problems just to the east of home. As you can see, those tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings. So for us, as we get in close, I am going to drive because I, as mentioned, have not had time to unfortunately fully forecast for you, but I want to make sure and let you know if you're waking up this morning, you're still going to want some rain gear. Robertson, Mason, and Adams County. That's where we still have some additional rain. More so, we are dealing with the aftermath. So we are going to be finding out from the National Weather Service if we indeed had tornadoes. And I know that we had a debris signature. We definitely found that Florence most likely had a tornado, but how many places were hit? What kind of rating was it? We don't have any of that information yet. That's from the National Weather Service. So that information will be coming soon, hopefully later today, possibly over the next couple of days as the area continues to be looked over. But flash flood warning is our biggest concern right now. Ripley and Dearborn, this goes until 7:15. And then also watching here for what is Brown and Claremont, you have this until 8:30. So ongoing worries for flood-prone areas especially, but also around waterways and roads here this morning, and some spots have been impassable. But Jen, I think, is continuing to see some improvements, but also finding more and more spots that have been having issues because of trees down, power lines down, debris that's been in the road. We are seeing a lot of that with Christian in Boone County especially. So let's take a look at that. We've got some storm reports that are continuing to come in. Really, the focal point for the city was the flooding. And so that's why you're seeing there the house with the water. There was a lot of spots that had some extreme flooding and some dangerous flooding. And then there's the Boone County with several different reports being indicated that severe thunderstorm, wind damage, tornadic activity most likely led to structure damage, power lines, and that's where the bulk of the area that has still no power. Here back to the west, we had both flooding concerns and tornado damage in Ripley County. And also, we know that we had some issues there in Franklin County as well, and then farther south with wind damage. This is some new information that's just kind of come in, so I want to give a query on it and see what it's telling me that it found here in Owen County. So we had wind gusts up to 52 miles per hour there in Owen County. Mason, upwards of 47. I know that we were worried about winds as high as 70 to 80 miles per hour at one point, and that was around Dry Ridge where that started to really take shape. And so there is a bit of structure damage that's been reported there too. So what can you expect for the rest of the day today? We do have still a chance, believe it or not, for some additional rain, maybe even some thunderstorms. This should be very limited, but there is a possibility as we make our way into the afternoon hours. One thing you're going to notice about today, the wind's going to be coming down, the humidity is going to be coming down, but we're not completely quiet for the rest of the day today. I wish that we were, but we're not fully quiet. I think it would be a limited chance, but still that possibility this afternoon. Then tomorrow, finally fully clear, but a little cooler at a high of 78. I do have what is looking like, it looks like some of my icons got messed up. I apologize. Father's Day goes there. Juneteenth is on Friday. But we have 70s and 80s with more storm potential by late Sunday into Monday. That's kind of our next focal point of potential stronger storms. So we will keep you updated. I think we're going to be heading to break and coming back with another look outside in just minutes.
I think we're going to take a look at traffic.
The 444 Traffic Report, sponsored by Blake Maislin.
Okay, I'm trying to get a handle on what's going on here. Bob, I might need your West Side knowledge here.
Yep.
So as first, I want to remind people that coming from Kentucky into Ohio using the Brent Spence Bridge, you can't continue northbound on 75. They've got the lanes going to 75 northbound closed. They're forcing traffic off the Brent Spence Bridge going northbound onto 71 US 50 going eastbound. You can also get off onto 2nd Street. But take a look here for me. So ODOT says that the US 50 State Route 264 westbound ramp is closed at 75, but I'm seeing traffic in the bottom lane there get through. So would that be the lane that goes to River Road and the other two? See the bottom lane there? Where traffic is moving slowly, not the very bottom one, that's coming towards downtown.
Yeah.
But officers are blocking 6th Street essentially as it goes westbound. But I think that's the one that allows you to get to River Road.
No, because that is the 6th Street Viaduct, right?
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out where those cars are going,
what that ramp
where
is.
that ramp is going.
Yeah.
But it looks like they have the 6th Street Viaduct, and I'll just read what ODOT says. All lanes are closed. US 50, State Route 264, west of 75 due to flooding. So you will want to avoid the 6th Street Viaduct, US 50 westbound there.
So is the cars that are coming at us, Dan, from top
They're
left?
They're coming from the west side.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, the ones that I can actually see moving from up left to down right, I'm just trying to orient myself a little bit. That is inbound 6th Street Viaduct?
That is inbound coming towards downtown.
Okay.
Can you see where the officer is underneath?
Yes.
Okay.
You're right. That is blocking westbound 6th Street Viaduct.
Okay, and then the lanes where traffic is continuing.
That drops you down toward, is it Guest maybe?
Okay, so that's taking folks, so maybe they're detouring folks off down to the Guest Street area.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if that goes straight onto, because I just get minimal details from ODOT sometimes.
Right, I think that's what that might be, but you're right. They're definitely keeping people from going west on 50 as you come off of the ramp from northbound 75.
Yeah, and also from 6th Street. So if you come out of downtown and you go take 6th Street to the westbound, you can't do that coming across that area. That's west of 75. So a lot of stuff going on there. That's one. I just took up a lot of time there. But I'll remind you that US 50 is completely shut down in Fairfax near Meadowlark. That's just east of Red Bank. We've got a photographer on the way to the scene there. And I mentioned that the northbound lanes of 75 coming off the Brent Spence Bridge are closed. We're sending you off onto 71 there. And we have a report of a mudslide on Bender Road near US 50 on the west side. High water reported on River Road near the Anderson Ferry. So a lot going on out there. We will take another look at all of this, including weather, coming up after this break.
Welcome back, everyone. Obviously, overnight storms unleashing several rounds of damaging winds and rain, leaving families across our area scrambling for shelter, heading downstairs into basements. We are checking in southern Indiana now. It was hit particularly hard this morning. We are chatting with our good friend Angie Priest, who is a resident in Vevey and has been so kind to dial in via Zoom this morning. We're spread out far and wide, Angie, but we didn't have anybody down your way, and I said, get Angie on the horn, and here you are. Talk about what you're seeing down there.
So I am just a block from my house currently. This is a large tree that went down. It damaged the roof, some windows, an iron fence, but no one was hurt. I did speak to people at Abner's gas station and around the other gas stations. Markland Pike is clear, so people trying to get into work today are able to get down Markland Pike, but the western side of the county has been hit fairly hard. I saw another fire department vehicle heading that way. There's a lot of damage over there, multiple homes with trees on them, power outages spread across the county right now. Currently, most of Vevey, downtown Vevey, has power, but throughout the county, there is outages. And I do know further southwest of here, Hanover and Madison, Indiana, did get hit a lot harder than we did. But that's all leading up to the western side of Switzerland County. And then the northeast side, I heard, has a fair amount of damage as well. I've not been out there. It was more via neighbor, checking on neighbor, that word is getting around right now because our volunteer fire departments and services are all out helping at the moment. So it's coming in here and there.
Angie, I know you know the businesses in downtown Vevey very well. Your vintage shop, that kind of thing. Are you hearing about any damage to the businesses? You said power is still on, but have you checked your shop? Have you heard from anybody else in downtown Vevey?
I have not been to my shop, but I did hear that there was a water leak, a roof leak, some damage like that. I have not seen any damage to the businesses, but it's just getting light here now. So I'm sure as people get moving in the day, we're going to hear a little more about what they're opening their shop doors to once they get in the buildings. These are mostly older buildings, so they've stood here a long time. We're hoping that they make it a little bit longer.
They don't make them like they used to. Angie, thank you so much for the time this morning. Really, really appreciate it. Glad to hear that as far as everyone you've checked in with, everybody's doing okay in Vevey, Indiana. Thanks.
Off to get coffee now.
Do it. Do it. Thank you, Angie.
Thanks.
Whew. Yeah, it's widespread in terms of damage, in terms of high water and all of those kinds of things. Guys, I'm going to check in with you upstairs. Are we going to take a break here, or are we just going to kind of catch our breath?
Do we want to take a look again at that 6th Street viaduct? Because Bob and I have gone through our maps and we've figured it out. I can take a look at the traffic computer if you guys want. There it is. Okay. So what Bob and I, of course, they changed the camera angle on this when we.
But they're squeezing over to the left.
But they're squeezing. Okay. Yeah. So what we've determined here is that US 50, the 6th Street viaduct, essentially going westbound, is closed, and the cars that you see going past the officers there, that are moving on the top of the screen, those are being forced off onto the ramp that takes you down to Guest Street.
Correct. Yeah.
But you cannot, and those are the ones that are coming off the Brent Spence Bridge. Because a reminder, the Brent Spence Bridge is closed this morning for you. Coming northbound, I should clarify, the 75 northbound lanes are closed because of high water just beyond the bridge. So traffic going from Kentucky into Ohio on the Brent Spence Bridge, you're all being forced off onto 71 or US 50. You could also get off at 2nd Street, but you can't continue those northbound 75 lanes. There's high water right in that area.
Yep. All right, let's just keep things rolling right into the 6:30 half hour.
Breaking news alerts and the Weather Authority forecast. This is Good Morning Cincinnati, live on Local 12.
Storms rattle the tri-state, leaving behind a trail of damage. This video, lightning over downtown Cincinnati, sent to us by viewer Seth Robinson. We have live team coverage as thousands wake up in the dark this morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Bob Herzog. The top story ahead, of course, going to be the weather, going to be the traffic impacts, going to be the impacts at your home. And Tara Blake has been here a long time.
That's right. I'm Jen Dalton, and let's get it over to Tara because things continue to update. What's the latest, Tara?
Yeah.
Thankfully, we are not seeing any sort of severe weather. We do not have a severe thunderstorm warning. We do not have a tornado warning. That is now long gone and pushing well outside of the viewing area as temperatures are now falling a little bit into the upper 60s as we see what could be a little sun, a lot of cloud cover, but the aftermath of cleanup where we had potentially several tornadoes here in the tri-state. We'll be checking in with the National Weather Service. They will be surveying all the different spots, but there were a lot of them, especially in Boone County, that we found some potential for what could have been tornadoes, but there's quite a few spots that have had some damage. So I wanted to show you what's left of the rain. So we do have some rain still over Bracken, Mason, a little bit of Brown, and mainly Adams County, a little bit of Highland County for you too. Now we still are dealing with the aftermath of the extreme rain that hit overnight. Some places seeing upwards of 5 to 6 inches. So a flash flood warning is in effect until 7:15 and continues for Ripley and Dearborn counties, and then also for us in Brown and Claremont. You have your flash flood warning that goes until 8:30. Those are our only warned locations at this very moment, but look at the numbers, look at the spot. This is where rain just kind of trained, is what we call it, hitting the exact same areas. But even to the north where this began, we saw 3, 4, almost 5 inches of rain, but especially Ripley through the city and pointing to the east, 3 to as much as 6 inches. It was a little bit less to the south as you got hit last, and you got lucky that the heaviest rain quickly shifted south rather than staying on top of you. But we still have a cold front close, and there's a very small chance that we could actually see some additional active weather in the afternoon and evening hours. Again, this is a very small chance. Right now, though, kind of a cool picture as our city is starting to wake up and we take a look at some of the damage. We're still warm at 69 degrees. Dew point still up. Dew point will be dropping throughout the day today. Winds are going to be dialing back throughout the day today, but we still again have that chance for a few showers, few thunderstorms in the afternoon and early evening at a high of 80 degrees. I'll show you a futurecast coming up, but we want to check back in with Jen, who is seeing a lot of problems still on our roads.
Yeah, a reminder that the 75 northbound lanes coming off the Brent Spence Bridge into Ohio are closed, as I just mentioned. But we have a couple other issues I want to let you know about. US 50 is closed in both directions, according to ODOT, at Meadowlark. That is just to the east of Red Bank Road near Wooster Pike. So US 50 closed in the Fairfax area in both directions due to a tree down. We've got somebody on the way to the scene there. I'll let you know when we get that video back. We also have a crash reported on 32 westbound at Eastgate Boulevard. So 32 heading towards Eastgate Boulevard, a crash. We had a report of a mudslide near Bender Road in US 50 on the west side of town. And we've also had some high water reported on River Road near Anderson Ferry. So be aware of that. But again, northbound lanes coming off the Brent Spence Bridge going to 75 are still shut down. They're forcing you off onto 71, Bob.
All right, Jen, thank you. We're following the path of that severe weather as it headed through the tri-state. Local 12 Sydney Hawkins is in Aurora with a look at the damage there. And Sydney, I know they've got a large area blocked off. Looks like you got maybe a guest with you now.
Yes, Bob, we are still on Cole Lane, East Lowry Creek Road, and I am with Tom Spillman. He owns this home here. Fortunately, Tom, everyone in your family is okay.
Correct. Everyone's fine. We're fine. My neighbors are all fine. We have several trees down. Obviously, you can see these are my hay bales here. They blew off the field over here. Yeah, it's not pretty out here. There's debris within 500 feet here all over the place. That's my neighbor's barn up here. His roof is ripped off. It's a mess. It's really a mess.
How long have you lived in this area?
40 years.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
Not this bad and not this close to us.
Yeah. So you told me you were actually planning to have someone come and cut these trees down today.
Correct. Today we're going to have this row of trees trimmed up, and well, now we don't have to.
Right. So your barn is here. You harvest hay.
Right.
This is your barn, your home, and then you all live
Right here.
and everything is okay at your home.
Everything's okay at home. Right. Everything's good here. Yep.
These are your neighbors here. Just talk
Yep.
about what the communication is like. Are your neighbors' homes okay?
Neighbors' homes are fine. They're all good. He has the guy in the orange there. He has another barn back here that got ripped up. But as far as the people go, everyone's fine.
So we had a crew here last night. Did you hear anything from emergency crews last night, or what's the communication been like?
So no, nothing from emergency crews. What was kind of ironic is that my alarm on my phone kept going off for a flash flood warning, not for a tornado.
So you were pretty surprised to see your hay bales in the middle of the street.
Very surprised. We did not hear anything like a train running or any of that kind of stuff. We just heard some heavy, high winds and rain real hard, and that was it. And it was over by 1:45. It was over.
Well, thank you so much, Tom. Glad you all are safe. Hopefully the cleanup and the recovery process is not too horrible for you all.
Right. Okay, thank you, Sydney.
Thank you. So this is Aurora, Southeast Indiana. We know there are power outages. You saw those down power lines in this area as well as Switzerland County. So we are here throughout the morning. I want to send things back over to our Christian Hauser, who's been in Boone County this morning. Christian, any updates?
Yeah, good morning, Sydney. We're in Florence right now near the corner of Industrial Road and US 42, just off I-75. Now, there are several areas in the Florence location that have that they've lost power this morning. And I want to show you one of the many reasons why. This is one of several power poles that were snapped due to the strong winds this morning. Now, it really shows just how powerful the winds were that came through this area. Now, there are dew crews out and about, but the estimated time ranges for the power to return in the Florence area varies from about an hour from now at about 7:30 until noon, maybe even later, depending on how busy these crews are. Meanwhile, folks on Dream Street, just a block away, will begin the cleanup after a few businesses suffered damage to their roofs, now including one carpet store having its roof partially torn off. Now, that section ended up across the street in the parking lot of the Roadway Inn. That gave the residents there quite a scare this morning, especially as those strong winds and heavy rains came through. Here's what one resident here described the storms coming through like.
We were sitting in a room and we were watching the storm coming through. And next thing we started hearing a loud train sound coming through. All the power got knocked out. And then we started hearing debris flying, hitting the building. And after everything was settled, we all came out and checked up on the damages.
Now, because the power is out, a lot of the intersections in the Florence area are also not working. But this police car down there, that's a Florence police cruiser, what they've done is they're leaving the car running, and they're using the power from the car to power that street light down there to make it safe, because I've seen so many cars just speed through these intersections that don't have any power, and a lot of people don't realize that you're supposed to stop at an intersection that does not have power. Now, luckily, so far we have not heard any reports of any injuries from these storms. We'll continue to follow that, but if you do have an emergency, the 911 system here in Boone County, it is down right now. So all calls are being run through Kenton County. They're dispatching the sheriff's offices as well as the police departments here in Boone County. So you're urged to only call 911 if it is a life-threatening emergency, something that caliber, not for kind of smaller things like debris, that sort of stuff. So only those extreme life-threatening measures are you to call 911. For now, live in Florence, I'm Christian Hauser.
Hey, Christian, we appreciate you coming in this morning. Let me ask you something really quick, because you've bounced around to a couple of different spots since you've been here. Is there a particular spot where you saw more damage than another, or has it been mostly power outages and that kind of thing?
You know, honestly, it's the Dream Street areas where I saw the most damage. I went over to the Menards and kind of by the Dave & Buster's and Menards area right there.
Yep.
They're between the two, actually, kind of tucked between them. It looks like it's kind of not like a portable roof, but like an outdoor awning type thing that had blown off the Menards and was now in the backyard, basically, of the Dave & Buster's over there. And then over on Dream Street, you know, the carpet store had damage. There was a power transformer that blew out in front of one of the residents at the Roadway Inn, and lots of trees down there. But I mean, really, you can find trees and leaves and all sorts of sticks and whatnot strewn about most of the roads in this area. So this was, I don't know what it looks like where Sydney is, but I can say that this is definitely one of the hardest hit areas in the tri-state.
Christian, we appreciate your time this morning. Normally you're saving big money at Menards. This morning they're trying to save their awning. Appreciate you, buddy, so much. If you are waking up in the dark this morning, obviously, as you heard from Christian there, you are not alone. And in fact, as you look at the Duke Energy outage map right here, you can see the spot where he is standing has probably the most outages that we're seeing on the map, sort of clumped into one spot at 4,000. There are about 11,000 out on this outage map in this area between Ohio and Kentucky. You've got 2,000 out as you get up a little bit west of 75, pushing out of downtown Cincinnati. Going further east, you get out into the Williamsburg area as you push out on 32 past Batavia. You've got a couple thousand out that way. So lots of power outages that we're contending with, lots of roads dealing with either trees down, so you're blocked, or high water in spots like 50 at Bender, between Bender and Anderson Ferry, and then 50 again on the east side. Jen was telling us between Meadowlark and Red Bank. We're going to take a just reopen.
Yep, US 50 in Fairfax just reopened, I was told.
In Fairfax, that just reopened. So good news there. We're going to take a quick break. We'll update you on all of it coming up here in just about 2 minutes. Stay with us. Got a script in for
Oh, I know. I was just going to say, I didn't know if you wanted to take the traffic computer into the video to kind of map it out, or just the video's fine. Either way.
I was just up on Bender Mountain 2 days ago. They call it Bender Mountain. Is it really a mountain?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that's what they call it.
We're going to be flip-flopping, so traffic will be before.
Okay, should I say, do you want to do like my map and here's some video of the mudslide? Okay. Okay. That's fine. Okay. So then. We have video just in now of that mudslide we've been talking about. Here's a look at, it's actually a rock slide, Bob, that closed Bender Road near US 50 on the west side of town. So that is, yeah, definitely a rock. We weren't sure what exactly was happening there. We had heard, and you can see vehicles having to turn around. So if you normally come down Bender Road, does that look like a bus got stuck too?
At least it's turning around.
Or it was turning around there,
Probably rolled up to the police officers and had to turn. But Jen, there's a great hiking trail right there. We call it Bender Mountain. I was up there about 2-3 days ago taking a hike, and boy, those rocks just shot out onto the road, didn't they?
They certainly did. So Bender Road is blocked right going down to US 50 because of that rock slide. And there's where we're kind of mapping that out for you. And also we've had reports of high water on River Road near Anderson Ferry, kind of heading towards that area, so just be careful. I do have good news, as Bob mentioned earlier. We just got we had a photographer go out there, and US 50 is now open at Meadowlark after Red Bank Road and Wooster Pike in Fairfax. So that's good that they got that reopened before the morning rush, because a lot of people use that area. But this is not open yet. 75 northbound lanes coming off the Brent Spence Bridge going from Ohio, or going from Kentucky into Ohio. The northbound 75 lanes are still blocked, and they're detouring you off onto 71, so we have a major backup going on into Kentucky. We'll take another look at traffic coming up. But Tara, how are things looking in the weather world now?
Oh, we're so much quieter. It is a lot better. Obviously, still dealing with a lot of issues on the roads, and because of the overnight heavy rain, we have ongoing what is flash flood warning still happening over Ripley and Dearborn County and extending east. Does not include the city, but Claremont and Brown County still under those. That goes into the 7 and 8 o'clock hour, and we still have some light rain to report on for you here too. Still ongoing with the light rain over Highland, more so in Adams County, Brown County, Bracken, Robertson, and Mason. But there is nothing severe, no severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornado warnings. Your phones aren't sending you a million alerts, thankfully. Everything has really dialed down, but now it is the cleanup, and it's, you know, just trying to get into work or maybe get the kids into camp safely, as we've had some extremes through the overnight hours. If you didn't get the severe weather, you were lucky. We had some potential tornadoes, certainly some extreme wind damage, and very, very heavy rain. So some of the bigger numbers stretching from Ripley County all the way east were anywhere from 3 to as much as 6 inches. I could expect maybe some pushing towards 7. Still some additional rain farther north at about 3 to 5. And then it was lighter to the south. And what happened was the heaviest rain got stuck on us here in that heavier swath. The secondary push that came in that was initially severe shot south, more so towards Louisville and Lexington. And so it really spared a lot of us south from seeing more extremes. But here's some of the storm reports I'm getting more and more in from those that are out surveying and, you know, trying to see what, you know, public officials are finding and residents are reporting. And so I expect this to look a lot more filled as we progress throughout the day. But a lot of the flooding concerns were in the city, and then a lot of the structural damage was here in through Boone County towards Florence. We had a good bit of damage there towards Versailles and Ripley County as well. Also into Carroll County towards Vevey, and Switzerland County was hit pretty hard. There was a confirmed tornado just outside of home that tried to make its way into Switzerland County, kind of broke apart and elongated, but definitely paused for concern of real problems into Switzerland County, but thankfully it decreased. But as you were hearing from some of our residents towards Vevey, they absolutely were still hit hard. And I wish I could say we're completely done today, but we're not exactly. We do have a small chance for some showers and storms later this afternoon. It is a very small chance. Heightened chance for severe weather remains outside of home, but watch as we get into the afternoon. We see a little bit of rain, possibly a few thunderstorms here towards the evening hours. So continue to heed those warnings. It will be a very different night than what we had last night. Thankfully, we're not expecting any sort of extremes, but we are not completely done with active weather. Now, finally looking better for you to enjoy maybe some pool time, some time outside for Juneteenth celebrations. That's on Friday, 78. 82 with a mix of sun and clouds on Saturday. Showers and thunderstorms are going to try and return later on Sunday, possibly extending into Monday as temperatures hold this week through the upper 70s and lower 80s. Thanks so much for hanging with us. We're going to be right back.